Hello, everyone, and welcome into tonight's broadcast from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are here tonight bringing you some ECAC Collegiate Valorant. We're in the playoffs here with Boise State looking to pick up their first win against Nazarene College. I'm your host, Brenner Bearlad. Joined with me to call all of the action tonight is Richard Richrad Pontillo. And already first map has been chosen. It is going to be Split.
Yes, Split indeed. One that we've not actually been able to see. The last time you and I were able to get an observation of this Boise State team was 2 weeks ago in that week 7 of the regular group stage before, as we now enter, as you mentioned, into this playoffs. And it's going to be the day one aspect of it, so we're getting to see all these teams start fresh in this double elimination bracket.
Yeah, and since this is our return to ECAC, we do have that updated event card for these playoffs because this is Valorant. It is still going to be that best of 3, first to 13 swap at 12. But you also got to remember that this is 5v5 Collegiate Valorant. And since we're in the top 20 of these teams for playoffs, this is going to be a bloody match because these teams are fighting to move forward.
It is. And I mean, taking a look historically at what we've seen, Nazarene has been a, college in the sense that has been able to do quite well. They've managed to get a 4-4. So that 50-50 ratio when it comes to what they have to really compete against. Boise State just having one up over them. They do have a 5-3 score line. I know when we last saw it was against Ball State, which was quite a close engagement between the two of them, still favoring Ball State at the time. But, looking at least at the maps that we did see going from Ascent into Breeze, there was some much more dominant play when it came to the Breeze map, but entering in onto this map of Split, which will be first for Boise State. I'm really interested to see how that's going to look going into this and see if that's something where they can start off on the right foot.
Yeah, and starting off on the right foot is very hard to do. So one thing we can help them do that is through Doc's keys to the game. And for Doc's keys in Valorant, that's going to be to focus angles and flank, know your win condition, count cards / call abilities, and of course in any FPS, you want to click heads. And these are brought to us by Drop-In Gaming, who is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments, whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran. Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. And to begin your competitive gaming journey, make sure to sign up at dropingaming.com. Well, we are getting ready to jump into our first matchup of Boise State taking on Nazarene College. And the go-to compositions for this first map of Split, what are you hoping to see?
I mean, one of the biggest things to really keep, a focus on is since we at least do have the bracket up to kind of watch out for. I know Ball State, as we mentioned, is a little bit more of that dominant team there with that second seed. So looking more towards the middle positioning of this. As again, we do look to see how Boise State's going to be moving through this bracket into second round, going to come against Wichita. Again, a really, really strong powerhouse for a lot of these teams, able to play a really great, well-rounded game of Valorant. And some of the big things that we really have to look at for, Boise State when we take a look at them historically, the biggest challenge is kind of in their consistency when it comes for entry fragging and also just being able to tighten up their ability to get into a post-plant position.
Yeah, so jumping into the draft already, both KOs, and we're going to see on the side of BSU is attacking first. And kind of some mirror matchups and also a little bit differences. So walk us through this composition, what we're hoping to see for Split.
I mean, one of the biggest things that just has, a big catch in my eye is going to have this chamber, utilizing the rendezvous to reposition, trying to get some decent opportunity when it comes to, that mobility around this, defensive or attacking side, what that can bring in. Also with the ability to control and maintain a lot of presence with the KO from Panda, something that we've not seen as much historically. Panda has been more of that jet player. This map specifically, you can, waver away from that in your composition and be able to find utility elsewhere or opportunity elsewhere. And that's why I've also got a really big fixation onto what Panda is going to be doing with this individual, because they are a really stellar player. We got to see them be the player of the match last time we were on this broadcast together, you and I, and seeing if they are able to do the same type of performance, especially going into this playoff when a little bit of the intensity continues to escalate, knowing that you are in these final moments of this season.
Yeah, they do have that second chance going into the loser's bracket if they drop down here, but of course you want to stay in the winner's bracket to say you're in the winner's bracket. So, and Boise State has, historically been pretty good at these early rounds with the pistols. They've had very close rounds a lot of time, but the Boise managed to, get the early edge, get those Spectres as quickly as they can, and just start trying to snowball early on. So we'll have to wait and see if they're able to do this against Nazarene here, especially because they're a team that we haven't seen on this broadcast before.
And as we do have this first phase going to enter in again, Boise State on the attacking position, quickly going to rush over towards that B side of the map, lobbing a lot of utility into this. You've got a dark cover, though, to come out on the defensive position. Work with it. You have Dreammaker getting very overwhelmed. Only 6 HP remaining. So vulnerable right now and has to be cautious, even though there is a great pickup here with that back line. But with this rotation around, you do see that Dreammaker is just basically trying to hug this box to survive. Gets 1 out of the exchange of 4. And that was a great recovery method here from Nazarene for them to manage to just be able to swarm Boise State near that box with low health values like a pack of bees.
Yeah, they really played tightly close together, definitely showing Boise State a lot of what they have, and already a Spectre for the side of Dreammaker, able to at least pick up 1 elimination. And I mean, Boise State was able to take down 3 of them, but their Sage was full health for that entire time, so that's definitely might be a target priority for them going into this, especially with Void Storm now bringing out the Marshall, no less.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that's really challenging is you commented on the Sage aspect of it, so you do get that sustainable healing, whereas the Sky did, fall short for Boise State. They couldn't get that area of effect to top themselves up, so once the 2 of them were so low, they were extremely vulnerable. With now Boise State moving into this, though, they're taking a little bit more of a methodical presence. They've got this 1-3-1 breakup position, 3 into this center section to try and see if they can capitalize on a position as Dreammaker still slowly presses up this ramp position to see if they can get this heaven area obtained, but they can hear some footsteps by Void in the back. Actually does come up short with the shot and is going to commit the paint shell to hopefully get some chip damage.
I mean, she is low, but Sage is probably not the best one you want to go for that damage on. And even heard the anchor coming up from that rappel. Will end up having to back off, but does get the teammates to circle around. And Basic's going to get first blood onto J-Bag.
Yeah, now this aggression forward, you have a couple of great early picks, but still Boise State getting so low right now will be caught out. Shell's the only one remaining. And you're going to have to see him just drop that spike and at this point just maybe look for a couple of pickups. The Headhunter still has a single bullet to look for it as they go forward. Can't seem to find the shot, unfortunately, and now you're just basically in a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, I got him down to half health, but with the rest of the team having Spectres, it's the definition of an uphill battle there. But now Boise State, after saving, they're bringing out the Phantom and Vandals. This could be the swing that they need to try to take back the win streak that's going on for Nazareth College.
And just kind of taking a pulse here. One big thing that you do have at least here for Boise State is that they have a practically full buy. It's really only Panda and Dreammaker that have opted for the light armor just because they are shy just that few amount of currency to make sure that they can have it. So that's something where you can really look at an opportunity for them to start gaining this advantage and gaining this economy that's so necessary. They do have knowledge though that Void is in the corner. They're going to lob that there instantly to force him out, but still takes a little bit of chip damage back as well. Boise State can't go into this too carelessly because they will be punished.
Yeah, once again, that Sage just being the first one to get in the engagement and still manages to survive even after being forced out from behind the box in top mid. But Boise State really enjoying pushing through top right now, which allows them to go, in the name of the map, split between out of one, this time going for a B push.
Yep, you can see that Panda's going to commit some of the crowd control. Flash comes out, doesn't get anybody since the dark cover is there, dropping down below. J-Back gets one with a wall bang. That's a great opportunity to move into this. You need Boise State to take advantage of it. Sky with that Hunter looking to get some pickups, but does actually cause them to retreat and will get into a post-plant position.
First time Boise's been up in the fight and able to get the spike plant down. Now even the healing going off. This is exactly what they need. Now Dreammaker coming in with a great double.
Yeah, the 2 going down and solely leaving 1. This is the opportunity that Boise State had to take, and it really just needed to come with an economy that they felt comfortable with. That's unfortunately not what you want to see, though. Dreammaker is going to go down, so they lose that. Most likely a pickup here as well, potentially. But again, Stitchy up top is going to go down ultimately by Shells once they do find that flanking position. So they come out with a victory and also still maintain 3 weapons worth so they can manage their economy and hopefully be able to rotate and snowball into further rounds.
Yeah, I mean, losing Dreammaker was definitely a hard loss, but at least they got the double. They will have that little extra influx of cash to allow them to hopefully buy back. Maybe their teammates might even be generous and buy them a weapon for those who did survive. But already an operator's on the field for Anchor.
And that's scary. That's when
terrifying.
You have to be really cautious. Yeah.
He's also 7 out of 8 for his ultimate, so he's just trying to power up.
One shot gaining the showstopper is going to be a huge benefit moving into this. Mako going to now move up the ramp to try and at least give them some initial cover. Will be picked up, but there is the slow orb coming through. Has to be so careful. Does not get picked up by that op. And will just tuck tail and run. Rendezvous active just in time before the paint shell does explode and get quite a bit of damage onto them. And at this point, they're just going to bail, go back, grab the spike, and transition over to B.
Yeah, I mean, that's the time to rotate. You were pushing up against an op. It's the definition of an uphill battle because you were actually pushing uphill, especially into a sniper when they have the high ground. It's just not a fight you want to try to take, as we see a little engagement here in the mid with that nade, but was able to shy him off. So now they're going back over for another B push, it seems, because already the remaining members of Nazarene that are on A seem to rotate over, only Killjoy remaining.
I mean, despite Anchor having this op, the shots that have been missed with every one of these peaks is actually causing a huge challenge for Nazarene on this defensive side to be able to really get an opportunity. Shells comes in with 2, 1 being the wall bang, so they've got the numbers advantage once again. Going to plant this. Panda goes for a quick swing, gets 1, as well as J-Back down below. This is exactly what you need to see from Boise State. They have really been able to take hold of this because they play so much better with these rifles in the long run. Their pistol rounds and their, sidearms are a little bit lacking, at least from what I've seen. But once they get these rifles online, or the assault rifles, they're in such a better place.
Yeah, and that was just a clean flick and one tap with that Guardian. So now Basics just getting pushed in their own spawn, sadly, by Panda. And Panda even gets it with that swing, as it was the Phantom v Phantom. So Boise State, a clean victory, bringing us 2-2.
And as we enter now into this, making it a 2-2 scoreline, this is where things get a little interesting, because when we look at the economy, we can notice that Nazarene is a little bit of a partial buy at this moment. Going to go for that shorty, going for a light armor, keeping a classic, utilizing what they have for, just their ability and kit as a whole. So this one will be able to lead in favor of Boise State, but they need to be able to recover after this one with the currency that they're saving so that they can be able to surpass Boise State and hopefully try to take a lead, because again, on this defensive side, you really need to try and get as much as you can.
Yeah, and even with Boise State having the 3 ults, committing the KO ult already, and now with the Rise going down, that's no rockets there, so already Nazareth not looking too good. Panda getting 1 more, +2 in this fight so early on, and Spike Plant down. Defenders have become the attackers.
Oh, Dreammaker gets a great pickup despite there being a little bit of crossfire with that flanking position by Nazarene. You do see Shells capitalizing onto it. Stitchy goes down. Flawless round. And this is Boise State really taking hold of it. But as we said, that is a light buy here for Nazarene, so they will be able to come back in at this with a full buy. Looking like there might just be potentially a little light in currency to get full armor, but they still have the weapons necessary for them to do something into this to not let Boise State just run away with it.
Yeah, I mean, this is something we touched on in Doc's Keys. It's about clicking on heads, and if you have armor, you can't really click on head with that, so the guns are definitely the more important thing to buy in that situation, but Boise State has now taken the lead after losing those first 2 rounds, so what are you hoping to see from Nazareth to try to come back from this? Because right now they've just been losing the gunfights.
Nazareth right now, at this point, again, I'm just so focusing on how they manage to play this entry. So they do have the suppression active, making it a little bit more challenging for Boise State to move in. Nanoswarm actually locks them off from moving further. There's a second one, and you've got Dreammaker can't even escape, because the second they go outside of that corner, the positioning up in heaven will allow them to exploit the positioning, so they're going to die either way. Boise State loses 1. Now, Trailblazer coming in around the corner to see if they can get some intel on where the positioning is here for Nazareth. As the paranoia gets tossed out to make sure that they can block any sort of vision. There's a showstopper that's actually committed, but still doesn't yield too much, with Boise State re-entering in onto this position with a guiding light to guarantee that they are going to be blinded for this plant.
Panda's on a double right now. Will get shut down by Vorg Storm, who's trying to push onto the point. Once again, being the final member, gonna bring out the res to bring back Anchor. Anchor's just barely able to survive as well, thanks to the suppression coming out from the Sage.
Health values are now up. J-Bag manages to get that. Nice job here, coming in with a wall-baited counter. Jabald has to be, you know, kind of kicking themselves after that one. They did top their allies up, but this is only just running out of time. Somebody's got to push to it. Void's going to play aggressively around the corner, has the dark cover, puts the wall up, so buys some time. Somebody's got to move through to get it, and they actually can't do it. Boise State will get picked up, but they're not going to have enough time to defuse it. A worthwhile play here from Void, but it's still a point, and they can't get out of the explosion radius fast enough, despite getting that quad kill.
I mean, Void with the quad lives with 1 HP. Yeah, you lost the round and ran out of time, but that's still a huge play, especially from a Sage of all agents. So, huge respect for them for pulling that off, and surprising Boise State could not win that gun engagement. I mean, she lived with 1 HP, so they got her low enough.
I mean, one of the biggest things is that you just make sure that you don't allow Boise State to be swimming in economics. They did lose every weapon in that sense, so they at least are going to be hindered to a degree, but there's still a lot in their favor right now. Trailblazer now going to come out from Jabald here toward that middle position again, trying to get some intel as Dreammaker plays patiently into this corner. Flash going to come through for a partial blind as they look to get a full blind onto their opposing side. Anchor up top, half health, has to be cautious, really only working with that pistol. Oh, Sheriff actually gets one. J-Bag goes down. That's a huge opportunity, but downtown you've got Shells and Dreammaker getting one of them being a wall bang to boot, able to just clip that last couple of damage. Now looking to try and once again find these extra players in the back.
Yeah, even things out, but of course, as soon as we say that, they lose the 2 members. So once again, it's the 1v3, but Voidstorm not able to make it happen this time around as Panda closes things out. Boise State running away with the 3 lead right now, even a 3 streak, no less.
The momentum is so key here for Boise State. Once they really gain a grasp of this between the two, they've not allowed themselves to really fall short, and that's one of the biggest aspects. I mean, again, we talk about the Sage managing to turn this around, which is a great play by Void, but overall, despite those couple of nuances, the sacrifices were well worth it because they're looking at the bottom line, the score line, a 5-3 right now, or 5-2, and they want to continue making this even higher because, again, on the attacking side, they're going to be in a much more beneficial position, leading it with a showstopper with a double satchel, attempting to try and get an angle over top the wall, but nobody's in the sidelines as Dreammaker playing hyper-aggressive, just going straight in on this raise with nobody there. They're actually just going to redirect and go back towards this middle position to contest B.
I mean, that was a lot of utility committed to get nothing out of it. I mean, you never know, but it was definitely a hard loss for Boise as they pick up one and going for another solid B push, but going to even out now how Naz with the +2 in this.
That's a huge change up. J-Bag now, at this point, going to go to try and get the spike at least. Actually, they could have a chance to do this if they maneuver through the middle position, since you've got 2 over by A and 1 straggling behind. Anchor, the only one remaining over here, not quite sure. J-Bag could be able to get a decent plant in this if played well enough and can really just sit back and hold the angles, but it is still a tall order when it's a 3v1.
Yeah, slow pushing through that B tower, over through stairs, but he's coming right up behind that 5th member of
30 seconds
Nazareth, so we'll have to wait and see if that... Ooh! Anchor's right there.
Playing
loses
the angle. Oh no.
Anchor finishes out with a triple.
Yeah, it finishes with a triple, but again, you kind of just want to always make sure that you play that wider angle. There was an opportunity when it came to initial visibility that would have been in favor of Boise, but again, that's neither here nor there as we do look into this next round, which is going to still be a full buy because the currency is still high from Boise State, but this will be Nazareth able to take back-to-back rounds now because of the currency that they have. Even if they do lose this defensively, they still have enough to go for a couple of rounds, which is key for them because Boise State is playing so dominant. But with that last win, if they can get another one here, that will put Boise State into a very uncomfortable position.
Yeah, they broke the 3-win streak that Boise was on, so that might have swapped the momentum in their favor. Satchel Charge comes out to get that high ground contest. Dreammaker playing so aggro right into 2 members, even with the back to 1.
Wow, gets actually hit in the smoke. Great responsiveness and attentiveness from Anchor to get that return. So it is a 1-for-1. Shells knows they're up top. They called that out in comms because they are not going to allow them to get this execution from the high ground. Lockdown becomes active for the defense. And now all of Boise State sitting in it. They have to aggress forward. A double kill comes through, but there's a huge showstopper from up top. Anchor gets it off screen and now gives an opportunity to collapse onto this point.
Yeah, it's 2v1. We know that the members of Nazareth can pull it off, and especially when you have your back to them. Stitch bringing it out, taking down Panda, trying to get the last one for, or at least the credit value. Gonna even start the defuse to try to bait it out. Unable to secure it though.
And again, it's all about those critical seconds. The fact was that it didn't matter as long as you prevented them from getting it because the time was so expired. There was no way they were going to get the defuse. Everybody sacrifices the currency and their weapons, but there's still a plethora of currency to work with for them to get back into this as a solid. We can even take it this replay. Huge satchel up, gets a free pick, but you have to commend Anchor for getting that follow-up, which we don't get to see in that clip, but just immediately after, just spraying into the smoke, getting enough shots necessary to make it a 4 versus 4. To attempt to bring it back.
I mean, yeah, and Anchor just continued to push forward, brought out the showstopper, got the double with it, just to try to give his team that extra leg up that they need. But now Boise State maintaining this 3-round victory so far, looking to possibly close it out, but Boise State this time going over for another B push. Definitely have had more success on B.
Oh. Dreammaker, you are lucky that you're going to get topped up there. Barely gets out of the paint canister and not allowing themselves to go down. But as they force back to get a heal, that's 2 down. Anchor just holding the line in this middle position and puts Boise State in a really challenging spot.
I mean, living up to their name right now, if anything. I mean, they just held it like an anchor. Wow. But Boise State might have to rotate off B after that because they know there's 3 members still holding this because Nazareth knows they're pushing it. This would be a great time to rotate over, especially because they don't have line of sight on the long A. But it seems that Boise State's still going to continue pushing through mode right into TV where Gonzo's waiting for him.
Guiding Light goes actually for the second position. Actually still gets it. Great peek here between the 2 of them. They don't commit to one player. Both get low, and that's an opportunity now going into this plant. And might just have enough to be able to top everybody up just slightly with the heal, but still looking to try and hold the angles. Rendezvous placed so they can play a little bit further forward and just get an angle from that heaven position. But Nazarene super cautious. What a peek. Shells gets it and gets out. And now waits for the single, 1 remaining.
Yeah, spray for the style points. Did see the very tip-top head of the remaining member of Void Storm, but we know they can make it happen. I mean, they've done a 1v4 before, especially with Shells at 33 HP, and even the Sky just as low. Seems like they will end up just giving in. This will be another Boise State round.
Couple of shots coming through. Oh, no, are they going to find a Void? Gets the backline positioning. Gets a flank, so that's a little bit of a currency hurt there. But again, you know, 7-3. We're reaching towards that halfway point where we do take the swamp of signs. 2 more rounds to go. And if Boise State can continue to keep this gap defensively, I have a strong feeling that they would be able to close this out, not allowing Nazareth to be able to get much more value, because typically when it comes to Boise State, they are able to play a post plant or a defensive position a lot more effectively.
Yeah, and in that replay, we saw Jabal commit so much, and as you mentioned, with those guiding lights, able to land them and just play them fantastically, even committing the ult to just continue the push forward and get those eliminations that they needed to secure the point and just become the defenders. Already such an aggressive push mid. Boise State's playing very aggro this match.
Yeah, they know they can. They've got the gun advantage here. Now, this is a little bit scary, though. Dreammaker's got to leave. The suppression is continuing to last. Yeah, you know, not the first time indeed, because they are just, you know, going in ham.
Feel like they're playing Ian at this point with how fast they're just moving around,
right?
But surprised we didn't see it. And Nazareth does have the KO ult to try to bring things back, but just look how set up they are on A, and Dreammaker taking down Gonzo so early on, just maintaining this lead right now.
And now with the Showstopper online, they're going to carry that over into the next game. The suppression comes out onto basic, so they have to be super cautious for these next few seconds. As you do have a couple of picks coming through towards that back position. This is all in the perfect spot for Boise State to be able to get this plant and look to contest. Panda in the back.
Looking for the flank.
might be able to find something. Peek the corner. There's somebody watching it, though. Actually evades. Has to quickly get the reload, but Void takes advantage of it. And now it's a 3-2.
Yeah, reload just blocking out the audio of the Sage pushing up. So poorly timed for that reload, but wasn't Call of Duty moment where shot one bullet and reloaded, was full mag as Dreammaker closes out with a triple. One remaining and Jabal gets it.
Nice job all around as we do enter into our final round before the swap. And at this point, it's basically just Nazareth having to make sure that they do get this win. They just need to try and prevent this gap from going even further. And they have a very solid buy going into this. They did a partial previously, so they should be able to get quite a bit here. You can see Basic hesitating on what they're going to commit to with that last 4,300 credits. They will get a light armor plus a decent rifle that they can use as we are about to enter into this final round before the swap.
I mean, Boise State sticking to all the Vandals in the world, just working out for them, and just how much money they have built up. They can lose a round or two and still be sitting just fine with their economy. Going for another solid B push, but Dreammaker's just saying, mid is mine, get out of here. Even commits the showstopper, unable to find anybody, ends up having to throw it in that corner as a lot of utility now coming out.
Yeah, there was a lot committed into this, but again, it's more so that Boise's trying to take advantage early. They want to put Nazareth in a very uncomfortable position out the get-go, especially this being the last round. That's why the showstopper came out early. Still didn't find anything. Dreammaker now playing suppressed down below, gets a quick takedown. Beautiful responsiveness when peeking that corner. As a paint shell now going to ricochet in the middle position. There is a dark cover that comes out. And now with all of that attention over towards B, you have complete attention over to A by Boise State. But cautious here. Basic gets the takedown on to Dreammaker and brings it back to a 3-3 score, especially with two rotating from Nazareth into this middle position.
Yeah, defenders become the attackers now. Nazareth. Boise State not even having the spike down yet. Time's not in their favor, but holding that angle is as Shell's picking up Stitch. Now +1 in this fight, 2-3.
That rendezvous, the rendezvous period from Shells has been super substantial. And that was the comment that I had at the beginning of this. Nice tank down onto Gonzo, but Gonzo's not gonna, oh no! Gives their position away, still gets it. Oh, if Shells, you fall on that one, I would have been super sad for you as you've got the tour de force out and ready to make sure that they get this final base. Going to be able to take the corner, gets the takedown on the reload, goes out into the sideline as the force obliterates the dome. That's an attacking win as we take the swap of sides with a 9-3 curse, and Nazareth now is on an uphill climb.
Yeah, Shell's bringing out the sniper right at the end. Basic finally getting on the aggressive, someone we have not seen very much in the kill feed. Finally brings it back with a double that round for their team, but one shot snipe to the chest will end it since he only had the 45 HP. Shell's going to finish it out with a triple for that round. This time also bringing out the ghosts as Nazareth now on the attack. Do you think Nazareth will go for kind of the same strat Boise did of that kind of 3-1-1 as they're pretty just split across the board on their side?
I find that really surprising. I would feel that Nazareth really needs to try and commit to one site and just overrun so that they can get this early value, because historically, yeah, they did still do very well in their pistol round defensively, but I would like to see them play aggressive here because Boise having to cover so much surface area, this being one of the actually largest maps, actually like square footage wise in comparison, is a challenging one to defend against. So typically you'll see a 5-stack, but at this point they really only have one committing to the outside with 4 in this middle position attacking. But they've lost one already, and Boise State is going to try and be able to make this huge lurking position. Look at the back line. Panda on that rotate actually decides not to commit to it and go back through that garage position.
Yeah, he saw the Omen smoke and just cut away right as the engagement happens, and Shells comes away with it with the classic. Hence Gonzo, so that means A secured, but Anchor's going to push in on to B, and the spike goes down, but will get taken down by Panda, who trades out from Stitch. So keeping it even 2-2 right now.
Health relation-wise, still in favor of Nazareth, though, as they want to try and take advantage of this. The Omen play is so low. Looking for the flash just to peek the corner. Gets one, actually gets the elimination. Basic comes up with 2. And this is a round win that is so critical to Nazareth to be able to play this long-run game of taking this match back.
I mean, if Nazareth continues a win streak as attackers, split attacker-favored map, question mark? Is it true?
Yeah. I mean,
Boise State ran away with it when they were on attack. They only lost the 3 rounds, so now that Nazareth's on attack and they win first round, this could be a good start for them, but it could also just be a repeat of the defense because they did win the first 2 rounds as well.
I'm just looking at Boise right now. They're just going to go straight with the shotgun. They're looking for close encounters. No surprise by Dream.
I mean, this is where the corner camping comes in and actually works because shotgun.
Yep. Yep. As you could just see that. Oh, I love the animation on that. I didn't know the pig flew.
I mean, when pigs fly, this is where
I know.
Boise State lives.
Actually, like, I knew that skin existed, but I honestly didn't know that it actually was animated. It's been a while since I've seen any other skin than the regular default ones. As you do have Anchor down below, though there is full knowledge of it. Inside the dark cover, though, are they going to see when they come out? Gets the opportunity, sprays them down, just side-swiping back and forth. A little bit. Now the paint shell comes out, but again, that's the advantage that they're taking.
Still gets it.
Yeah, the fact that it's just
the judge.
Judge comes in.
Oh.
And again, you had so much weighing on the shoulders of Dreammaker, trying to get value with that shotgun since everyone else opted in for the classics and no purchase. So this round will be able to be picked up by Nazareth again.
Anchor with another quad
from Boise.
Or not another Nazareth
one.
with another quad. There you go.
Yeah. We'll take a look at it again, too. Just that panic spray. Ah!
That's the benefit of Valorant over coming from, like, Sieges. Everyone aims in, and you just zoom in, like, 4 times and just can't see anything. So hipfire does help in that situation. But a great push by Dreammaker with that judge to deny the spike plant right at the tail end of it. Now Stitch also bringing out the Marshall, maintaining with the Spectres for Nazareth. And Dreammaker still with the judge.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna have the judge. I almost would have liked to maybe. I mean the Marshall can still gain value if you get that precision shot. And there's still a lot riding onto it, but with the combination that we've got, Shells is already going to be able to take that early advantage onto Gonzo. Since they do have a very solid buy going into this, they had to forfeit by getting that very light buy previously and only committing into the judge. As Dreammaker now looks to try and still hold this angle. Nobody gonna press into it as the bot goes for some intel, finds one around the corner. Paint canister gonna bank off the side, opening him up into the. Oh, that's a no-fly zone, and you're going to be able to get some damage onto that shield.
Yeah, so Anchor down to probably about 80-ish health, I would say, as we did see that Marshall elimination, the off-screen. Ooh, saw the elbow.
Oh, don't do it, Dreammaker. Don't go in alone.
Pushing a long angle with shotgun. Big brain play. Again, if he was the Neon, he could have just sprinted right at him and got value with it, but Guiding Light comes out, does have the crossfire.
Just peeks the corner to the right, and the second they look away, that is where you've got Anchor moving in, so it's a trade ultimately. Trailblazer comes out now into the middle position, checking the corners and looking to chase down one, and you actually, while that happens, see Panda get Void Storm. So, the 2 remaining individuals. Nazareth does look to position over by the garage, but you do have Jabal now going to top everybody up with the remaining aspect of the heal that they have from that utility. Shells gets taken onto basic, and there comes that final pickoff as the defensive side now closes it to only a 3-round victory just in sight.
Did someone tell Dreammaker that he is on defense? He did not need to be that aggro.
I mean, watch this. Watch this. Look at just peeks the corner to the right. It's all a timing thing here. You commit to that fully and don't wait just a little bit longer. You're going out too far. I think they could have been able to hold that lead with the Trailblazer. And again, not to talk badly about Boise State because they are doing really well. But you
I mean,
have
they're
to
at a
think
5-10 lead, so for sure.
They are, but now you have to think bigger picture here. They are still doing well, but these are the key things that they're really going to need to help refine when you are in the playoffs. We are no longer in the group stages, so it's those little micro details that have to be very cognizant of to try and continue to dominate against their teams.
Yeah, we are in the top 20 teams. This is round 1 of the ECAC playoffs in Collegiate Valorant, so Boise State really need to tighten up, as you mentioned, and just refine a lot of these plays, especially when you go up against, you know, number 1, number 2 seeded team. It's going to be a hard fight. And Dreammaker, once again with this judge down mid, really favoring it as they're holding Maul.
I think they just might have had intel onto the front of the barrel of that, too. They made a couple of decent shots there. Not going to commit to it fully because they do have the dark cover now, just to the right position. Dreammaker, you really do deserve that skin. Making pigs fly. I mean, goodness me. Satchel aggressively forward, going to double Satchel. Oh, Dreammaker. Those are a lot of dreams.
Yeah, he went for the rotation, just sadly went a bit too high. Great play, splash will land, but
wow.
12 health and survives. Does lose 2 teammates in the rotation, though.
Yeah, Basic gets out. That's a chance. Health value super low here, though, for Nazareth. They have to be very, very cautious as they push into this, but they will be able to get that plant and now have to hold their angles and not allow Shells to get this heaven position. And Void on this wall might not be seen. Breaks it down. Peeks left once. Finds the edge of Void and sees it just before the angle. And that will be the completion here for Boise State as they will be able to get the defuse.
Yeah, definitely a much closer round than we've seen in the past as Boise State takes it 11-5. Sky at that half HP. And only Chamber having the ultimate online so far. But take a look back at this replay. Hey, you can see just barely the gun barrel and the sleeve poking out. Oh, definitely feeling bad for Void Storm there. But surprising wins that engagement for Stitch, who quickly loses it to J-Bag. But very good engagement. Nazareth tries to come back here. Even the Odin? Are my eyes correct? Is that an Odin?
No, that is the guard. You're talking about Stitchy?
Yes. Okay, so it's Guardian.
Yeah, that's the Guardian. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. Odin. If they went an Odin, I'd really be.
I was so hopeful.
Questioning a lot.
We've seen a judge bring out the Odin, bring out the Ares. Dreammaker finally making this work when he doesn't have a judge.
Yep, finally making plays right now. Does get the initial damage with the paint canister, then gets the hack to get them into a position of follow-up. Now you can see Boise State committing quite a bit to their own. They do have the Trailblazer now eliminated and did get intel that there are multiple members over by this A position. So calling for assistance, you can see them all collapsing, 2 specifically underneath. Both Panda and Dreammaker moving through the sewers. One comes up by Jabal, and now the Flawless with Dreammaker to pick up Void underneath. And this is now a match point.
Yeah, Boise State, it's 2-2 for the ultimate economy, and Nazareth really doesn't have the credits left to have a full buy. They're probably just going to have to go with those Spectres and light armor at best. And Dreammaker's just saying, the attacker spawn is my spawn as well. I'm not just a defender. With how aggressive they pushed down mid, as soon as they got their hands on that Phantom and Vandals, they just had that winning combination. So Guardian and Marshall going to come out. 1 Vandal, 2 Bulldogs for Nazareth. So no Spectres, a little bit better, but still an uphill battle with Boise State having that full buy.
Oh my goodness, Boise State right now just absolutely aggressing forward. It's seek and destroy right now. They know they have the numbers advantage and the gunplay advantage. They lead in with the sentries to make sure that they can get that from the Sky Ultimate. Couple go down, so it does stem a little bit of the bleeding, but the Showstopper with a double tap goes for 1 in the back and gets it to eliminate all. And that's going to be a defuse, allowing Boise State to take this first game.
Yeah, pretty dominating victory, 5-13. I mean, that final round was nothing but flashy plays because, as you mentioned, that was search and destroy. Boise State going out for blood to close it out quickly. And of course, the stream is Boise State. Always looking for new and talented players, production, and even come join us on the desk. Soon to be a brand new desk, as you can tell. So we're using some of our normal computer desks here on the house.
Right.
So you can always check us out and apply at boisestate.edu/esports. But a huge dominating victory on map 1. Map 2 has also been determined as Ascent. So some exciting things to look forward to. Rich, your thoughts on that first map? I mean, Boise State came out swinging.
I mean, just talking at least about that last round where you just right from the get-go, you see Seekers coming out and just being Seekers, let's find it, let's get them. Okay, now rush. Everything is just going to end up being in favor of Boise. But, you know, as a whole, once Boise State starts to grasp their opponent like this, they kind of tend to get a little, you know, a little loose. They're just like, all right, like you can take a little bit more unfavorable
trades.
This
is a field day now. We're gonna have fun.
It is. That's I think my only critique because they are playing well. I can't douse them for that. But it's more look at the long run. We got playoffs. Keep yourself refined and sharp through every aspect that you can. And we've seen Ascent previously before when it's come to Boise State. They weren't able to take it over Ball State. So hopefully since last time where we found a little bit of hesitation in some of their rotations and also their post-plant dominance needs to really, get a little bit more value. And now would not be surprised if we're going to see the Jet come out. Panda specifically going to be that individual that picks that Jet up again, since it's more notorious on this map. I'm also looking to see if that's where we're going to see a little bit more shine in their factor versus what we just had with the Raze play from Dreammaker in this map.
Yeah, so a handful of things to look forward to, but we are going to go ahead and throw it to a quick break. So we'll be right back with Ascent, with Boise State taking on Nazareth College.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are continuing our coverage of some ECAC Collegiate Valorant. Boise State has taken Map 1 from Nazarene College and looking to take Map 2 and Game here on Ascent. I am still your host, Brenner Bearlad, and joined with me to call all of the action is Rich Red Pontillo. So, Ascent, we kind of walked through before. Threw it to a break of what we're hoping to see, mainly Jet with Panda there. I'm personally expecting to see maybe some cheeky Odins and Ares to continue this fun forward. What else are you hoping to see?
a lot of different things, but I'm gonna do like a mimic highlight here of our production in the back right before going into this. Where
there
they
you
were
go.
pointing. I'm sorry, I was just gonna do my part too. We're doing it together, friend. But again, a little bit of the opportunity when it comes to potentially seeing a Sova into the mix, getting some intel gathering, which is really really important. You do have the owl drone, you do have the, a couple of the shock darts or spectral arrows that you can get that information, which is super necessary to go into this. You commented on the Odin. There is a little bit of that defensive play that can come through. And again, historically, from what we've seen when it comes from Boise State, this is a map that they do struggle a little bit on, at least from what we base it off of with the Ball State game that we had. And again, with Ball State being a little bit more upper when we do compare to these 20 teams, going into this game against Nazareth is going to, I think, be an opportunity for Boise State to kind of go back to the basics, to be able to evaluate what they need to do to strengthen their play. And then also, as I said, let's hope to see that they do keep themselves in a very refined mindset and just to not allow themselves to become too, let's say, lean back and just sitting chilling in their chair, maybe kicking their feet up on one of the desks and finding themselves getting outmatched here and there.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. We don't know if Ascent was, Nazarene's map pick. Maybe that is their most played in the map. They could definitely have, that secret strategy, secret team comp that could really throw Boise State for a loop. But with it being Valorant, I mean, this is something we talked about in Docs Keys. If clicking on heads comes down to it, Boise State has proven that they are the better gunplay so far. Maybe that does change on Ascent. We will have to wait and see how that will come up. But we also do have the lineup now built out so we can see who the players are here on stage. We can see it's Dreammaker, Shells, JBag, Panda, and Jabald. 5v5. I mean, it's our all-star roster for this Valorant. And as we've stated again and again and again, this is round one of the playoffs with the top 20 teams. We've made it. Let's see how far we can get and hopefully come out of it as champions here. But it's going to be some rough competition because, as we've been talking about, we previously faced off against Ball State and it was a hard fight. So now taking on Nazareth, the Eagles. Looking at this draft, anything jumping out to you?
Well, the Sova is on point. That's what I anticipated. Though the Euro is where I'm really, really interesting because we've not really seen as much of it ever since they did have the adjustment to their kit. So if that is going to be locked in, which it looks like it is going to be, that will just be a nice little flavor pick, I think, coming in here. Dreammaker, we've already seen on their Raze play be so aggressive, and I think this pickup is something that can actually very much go and lean into the type of style that they play. And they're actually going to not go for this Jet combination, which they did last time. Panda's going to opt for more of this Sova selection instead of going on to the Jet, which we saw. So I'm really curious to see what kind of value it's going to bring as we do take a look at the opposing side. Ever since the adjustment when it came into the Astra, a little bit of a nerf, you do have this selection going into it to try and be able to have control of this map. And, fundamentally different selections here from the composition. Really, the only thing that is mirrored is essentially the Killjoy and the Sova. So 3 others really keeping an eye on it, how they utilize their utility to differentiate themselves in this playoff game 1.
Yeah, so already it seems Boise State in the blue, as in the red. So Boise State should be defending first this time. And already, I would assume they stick with the Classics and the Ghost. This is what we saw them run in the previous rounds, but Nazareth has been kind of taking those first rounds a lot of the times, and already you can see the Jet bringing out a Sheriff this time around. So a little bit of a change up, and also from the previous map, Basic was on the Killjoy, now giving it over to Ceramic, I believe it was. So a lot of people just changing up agents of who's playing what could be the leg up that Nazareth needs.
And as these seconds dwindle to have this initial positioning, you can see that J-Bald is going to make sure that they control tree there, not only with the bot, but also with the Nano Swarm as well. And just taking a look, you've got the Headhunter shots purchased, going for a couple of shots, does go down, loses it. Aggressive positioning here from this Boise State positioning. Gets a little bit of chip damage at least onto 1, so the Astra is low. But now, at this point, because the combat happened over by B, and there's a little bit of an adjustment from the defensive position, now you have the aggressors from Nazareth moving over to this A position as a 5-stack.
Yeah, all the way through lobby into main, and Boise State has yet to really rotate around, only having the Killjoy and to try to hold that angle. Doesn't even get full sight of it. Huge scout coming out from the Era. Oh, and now the smoke coming out from the Astra as well. Boise State finally rotating over as Dreammaker takes the high ground with the Frenzy, no less. It's going to get pushed out of heaven as they get onto point, and the plane goes down, even bringing down the wall. Or the door, sorry.
Yep. Doorway is now going to be at least a little bit more to work through. A couple of spray shots to dwindle the health value to potentially find an extra point of entry as J-Bag does toss out the Paranoia. And you have at least one of the stars coming through, activating the smoke. Nebula going to prevent a lot of that vision as J-Bag looks to drop, get some shots, but down below they find a repercussion playing out into this. Still getting some protection. Panda tried to spray and a few shots. Nobody coming out just yet. They are in a rock and a hard place. Gonzo gets the elimination. Dreammaker now with a hope and a prayer, dropping down to find an angle with this Frenzy, gets the elimination, can't yet find an opportunity to get the defuse. The timer is going to be far too low, and they will unfortunately not be able to take this, as you do have Nazareth able to get this first round.
And no one lives through it either. So a little bit of loss for Nazareth there, but a great play coming out from Boise State. I mean, it's the hard push through A is that heaven and hell just balance of you really have to guess or try to go for, you know, some shots through the floor and see if you can get him, or simply push into it. He had some good spray with the Ghost through that smoke, but was not able to secure the kill and got crossfired because he wasn't able to secure hell. So now hopefully we don't see a repeat of that, as Boise State really stacking up for a defense on B.
Yeah, the whole heaven and hell transition, you know, having a demon on one shoulder and an angel on the other, it's never a good conversation when you're in the You see some aggression coming out. Turret has been dropped very far forward. Javal going in so ham, but doesn't get the takedown. And you have now Nazareth College way, way ahead at this point, despite a couple of weapon pickups from Boise State.
That is the definition of a little bit too aggro. Just a little bit, as it was just an instant 4 members down in less than 5 seconds of just spraying, and they continue to push around it thinking, oh, maybe they'll stop firing now. How about now? No, you're just all dead. So I expect this next round to be 100% Boise State playing hopefully a bit more to their normal, tightening things up and playing more defensively as they should be. This is playoffs. You can only have so much fun with it and just being like, all right, we are in a competition. We do have to still win this. They won first map with a pretty commanding lead, but Boise State has yet to win a round.
And again, this is one of their best opportunities now. They didn't manage to play the first round pistol to their advantage. Second round, playing catch-up, which is a little bit more warranted for their aggression, but I still think they could have played it a little bit more slow in tempo, as we do have this being the first time that they can come back with a decent buy. And this is a very, very different strategy when it comes to Nazareth on this attacking position, as they do look to move forward and change positioning once again over by B. This is a little bit of a mind game play here. Boise State has to be super careful here.
Yes. Really just slow and steady. Rotated all over to A. Rotated back over to B. Now the one and only Shells all by himself on B. He's going to have to try to defend against 5 members of Nazareth. Boise State going to rotate 2 over, go for that 3-2 split. That works for them. So now the Astra ult's going to come out with that wall, and there goes the push.
Oh, wow. Shells plays that to the best of their ability and actually gets away. Rendezvous is available. The Cosmic Divide isn't going to give any assistance now. And with this slow, methodical play, going to find 2. Panda comes out, just obliterating anybody that enters the crosshair. Gets another through the smoke for the 4th. And this is a big opportunity here for Boise State on this defensive position.
Shells with the perfectly timed teleport, as you mentioned, and then Panda just cleaning shop. 10 HP remaining is a feat within itself, and taking a look at this replay, Gonzo swings out and Killjoy just looks at the wrong angle for Ceramic, continues to push through, and rather than reloading, just picking up the enemy gun off the ground and gets the final bullet for that elimination. Is just so well played by Boise State.
And now this is the momentum that Boise State needs. As again, we do see them on this defensive position trying to hold out, because aggressively there is more opportunity here when it comes to this map of Ascent to try and get some pickups here, especially moving towards this middle position. A couple of smokes already been committed by the Astra. Owl gets a decent visual on their opponent. As there's a side angle, you get Jabald able to take down Sticky, and Dreammaker gets another, so it's still an advantage here for Boise State. Dreammaker needs to be cautious, though. Gonzo is a little low, takes a couple of free shots through the smoke as they will retract and go back over towards that B position, take the long way around, and now, once again, you've got Nazareth in a slow, methodical re-entry.
Yeah, this time going all through the mid with the remaining 3 members. Astra is at that lower HP, so Boise State in favor. Even HP-wise, even though they are a +1 member, did get the Sova ult and the Jet ult are up, so it is 1-1. Arrow did come out and did not get scouted, so Dreammaker playing a little bit further back, sees the rotation through.
Really didn't like that they took that fire. I mean, again, if you don't have the guaranteed shot, you've given your position, so they do know, and you have to play back. Because it is a 3-3 position. Shells down below in the midst of the smoke, looking to attempt to drop some of that util.
Shells
now goes out. Oh my goodness, Shells. They've really been an MVP right now when it comes to this chamber play. It's so lovely to see. The synergy between both Shells and Panda has been substantial, and Shells now gets a triple onto Basic, making this now a 2-for-2 scoreline.
Yeah, Basic just had that 50 HP remaining, and it was definitely not going to be enough taking on Shells, who had just gotten the double, so Shells finishing out with a triple. I think it's fair to say the Econ's just a little bit in favor of Boise at the moment, and definitely expecting maybe some possible operators coming online for them, as clearly Jabald's trying to hold that A main at the moment. As you said, Tree earlier, her once again going super aggro here, but this time Nazareth with the Jet gets taken down immediately.
No. This is where you love to see that aggression forward. Not the second corner, but at least this first one. Hunter's Fury does get a pickup. Panda comes out with a huge advantage once again. Clips the body once and finds the location for the execution.
Ultimate's now even going in the favor of Boise State after that beautiful play. And you have to feel so bad for Nazareth of that poor Jet player, or I believe that is Anchor no less. As soon as they bring out the Blaze, they just instantly get tapped. J-Bag's just coming out with a double here.
And you can even see Panda just going to go ahead and rotate out. There's no need to worry. They've got the spike down out in the open. There's no way that they can get this recovery, and they're just going to play their angles. At this point, you have to just run back for Nazareth to see if you can... Oh, well, as I say that, the op comes in. You've got Ceramic. You know, I'm sorry, Ceramic. You're getting a little bit molded right now into more than just a pop.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do as a Killjoy in a 1v5 situation, especially once they have operators and are getting aggressive. So, definitely rocking a hard place, as we've been saying. But now heading into round 6, it is 3-2. Nazareth can easily time things up with a single round win here. And after saving that previous round, they should be able to almost full buy, as we can see. So they do have at least the ARs.
I mean, the biggest thing was they committed the blades from the Jet blades to try and offset the lack of their economy, and because of the early pickup, it was done and dusted. Now moving into this, suppresses the moment, continuing to be refreshed onto J-Back. Won't be able to use any sort of elusive abilities, but 2 already go down, and they are looking to see if they can capitalize onto this. A rotation from Dreammaker has been punished, though, so the flank doesn't come through, but I don't think there's actually any way to get that pickup onto their partner, so Sticky is going to get taken out. They can't get the res onto it after the ultimate ends. Now Boise State defensively, Panda, the only one remaining. Star is active, trying to get a little bit of a balance of the recon for visibility. Does actually find it. Now, 1 remaining. Sentry turret in the doorway. They're just waiting for them to push up. Ceramic needs to be so careful. The wallbang damage isn't going to go through. Ceramic now looking to peek, trying to find Panda, but no, Panda still gets it. The 4th in a row on this match with a beautiful clutch.
Very surprised Nazareth did not go for the pre-fire when pushing that angle for Ceramic. He knew exactly where the angle was. He never heard him rotate out of it for Panda. So very interesting calls coming out from Nazareth, but they were +1 in that fight up against Panda and just simply weren't unable to capitalize on it. There it is.
Oh,
look at it. It's beautiful.
This is what you've been waiting for. Everything has culminated to this moment.
Now let's see the Penta. It's gonna happen. Sprays through the wall. I mean, he's just through a couple more walls. You almost had it. Shells with the early elimination, though.
Yeah, in that middle position, somebody pushed out into the open. The force was there. Pete comes out by Dreammaker. The potential pickup with the Marshall isn't going to be there. Now does get the ricochet. Finds another one. Dreammaker is unreal, utilizing this adapted kit by the Euro to make sure that they can get maximum potential with it.
Yeah, Marshalls really aren't the best at countering that, but the Sheriff through the wall for Gonzo takes down J-Back. Shells now with the double Panda. We love to see it. You hold that angle with your left click. They'll never push it until now.
That's what you do all day. That's what you do all day. Now it's just going to be Dreammaker playing aggressively, because you do have J-Ball.
3 stacked in the mid, rotating through.
Right.
Oh no, Gonzo. Gonzo, no.
Gonzo,
even the nade.
Nano Swarm's going to come out, forcing them into wine. They're going to now look to try and push into that corner. They're forward to force again. Shell's making sure they're using every one of those rounds to the best of their ability, as we've got a now decent lead here and quite a dominant one to boot. And what a dirty pick, Dreammaker. Just finding, I got to say, Dreammaker is on the road right now to be the player of this match so far, because they have really stepped up.
I mean, it's been between Dreammaker and Shells, really. I mean, that whole round was nothing but sniper eliminations, with Shells bringing out the ultimate and then Dreammaker just with the operator winning against Marshalls. So Boise State's definitely been playing around it. Panda still holding on to the Odin. I know you can do it. You have all my belief in you. Oh, there's one for Dream.
Oh, no. The decoy comes through. They shoot at it first and leaves a free shot open. Now is going to get suppressed for the time being. Has to draw back, but the damage is already done. 4 versus 5. This is favor for Boise State, as all of Nazareth is actually still holding over by this A position. They're still going to commit into this. They've got the Owl Drone as well. Lockdown going to be dropped, so that gives them an opening to push in.
That Killjoy is the perfect time to begin that push. They use all 3 ultimates.
And you're going to have the Cosmic Divide, too. That is a huge overcommit here. I feel you could have gotten away with just the lockdown for the Cosmic Divide, but Panda comes in, mowing them down one after another. 3 and the defuse. That's going to be a Hunter's Fury online for this next round, and they're feeling great after the flawless.
13 HP and a Dream, held left click and nobody could stop you. That's my player of the game. Change my mind. If that's not #1 in our top 5, heresy.
I mean, unless the only reason I want it to not be #1 is if something even better comes out. But yeah,
the Penta.
That's just, the Penta.
The Penta. I mean, if anyone could do it, it's Panda, especially now that he has the ultimate. I mean, if you get the Penta with the ult and at least another triple with the Odin, hands down, best play. But Boise State running away with it now, 6-2. Nazareth has a mountain to climb, and starting off by eliminating Shells is a good way to start.
Yeah, they've been a very influential individual amongst his team, gaining value against Anchor. Now waiting for this dark cover. There is a pick through the wall bang again. But actually, it was in the middle position. It wasn't over by B, so taking a cheeky position to get the advantage. And now at this point puts, again, Nazareth in a really challenging position. Anchor just trying to jiggle peek around this to see if they can get any sort of information onto J-Bag. But J-Bag's just sitting cleanly behind this box and going to wait for anybody to push in.
I mean, he doesn't have an Odin, so we'll see if he can make it happen. The perfect time for the smoke as the Jet comes flying in. Big exchange. J-Bag gets 2.
That's a 3rd. J-Bag waits. Patience is a virtue, and it pays off.
I mean, Boise State definitely went super aggro on the first map of Split. Now on Ascent, they're just playing the defenders as they should, and Nazareth just didn't have time on their hand, had to get aggressive, and just got taken down in the rotations. Even Dreammaker coming in with the super short. He gets the elimination as well. J-Bag gets that triple, and Boise State bringing it to 7-2.
7-2. They are just now 2 rounds away from swap of sides. And
Panda
with
still has the Odin.
moving into this. I mean, I don't think they're ever going to lose the Odin. Let's just be real. At this point, they could just sit back and have enough currency to buy more for the last 2 rounds before swapping.
Did also use...
See Shells. Oh, Shells.
There it is.
Oh, and gets it. The rendezvous once again. I love chamber play like this. do have the Odin looking to try and spray and pray down that
Wow,
position
baby.
over towards B. As Jabald now playing a little bit more aggressive towards this archway. Knows that somebody's there. They peek out. Gonzo goes down. And there's Shells with another in the mid position. Goes for the third, but just goes wide.
A hair to the left. I mean, he was in fear of that Marshall because he is low health, taking a lot of the poke. There's Panda with the Odin. He does lose it. Ceramic
Marshall
with the double.
pickup. All right, Marshall, we get it. You don't have the Odin. I mean, you don't have the op, but you sure
I mean,
can
he doesn't
work
have
with
the
the
Odin either. I mean, come on now.
I know.
Pick it up.
So I am right. I know, right?
Aw, come on.
30 seconds left.
Gotta pick it up. If anyone can make it happen, Ceramic, after getting a clean double with that Marshall, I mean, he's making it happen.
Dreammaker, though, hyper sprinting over to the other side, seeing if they can try and get an angle onto this.
Ooh, the shorty.
And an op.
There it goes.
Actually, I was going to say, it goes for more close quarters. I'm not surprised. They're going to go back for that one. Oh, my goodness. What?
Fakes him out as the decoy.
I'm not going to lie. That is the most brilliant play, and I could hear them laughing in the background. I actually heard them. That was beautiful.
The deep fake.
Big brain play. I'm pretty sure they can hear me right now in that arena. Big brain play coming out.
I mean,
on
they're
that.
just like, oh, it's the decoy. He's not going to look at me. It's fine. Gets taken down by Shells for the triple.
That is the... I can't even, Dreammaker. You make me the happiest camper in the world right now. If that doesn't get you MVP player, I don't know
no
what
less.
does.
Just say that I faked being a decoy in playoffs and got it. Was just the confidence in having his teammate of Shells get the elimination of he's got my back, I don't have to worry, and pulls it off.
Take flight.
Panda no longer with the Odin. A little bit disappointed, but you got a triple, so yeah, got my respect.
Mind games here. Panda gets one. This is just going to spell disaster now before we enter into that last round. Panda just continuing to watch their angles. Nazareth is unable to even press forward. Now Panda should be able to swing here. Nanoswarm is out, doesn't find anybody, gets lucky. Nobody's in that back corner, and gets one onto it. There's a third. Are they going to go for the four? Come on, collapse on it and get the fourth.
I mean, he's definitely going for it. J-Bag's looking for it as well. We'll get it before him, sadly.
Takes it away. How could you, J-Bag? How could you?
I mean, most of these rounds have been 3-2 splits for members of Boise State. Just, it's either Shells getting 3 or Dreammaker getting 3, Panda getting 3. I mean, every member of Boise State has had their moment in the spotlight so far, whereas Ceramic for Nazareth has just kind of been the main player on this map so far with the Killjoy.
And now as we enter into this last round before the half, this is the last opportunity for Nazareth to be able to gain some kind of value with what they have economically and the ultimates that they could potentially have online. All aggressing over towards A. And the fact that nobody's over by B is actually going to make this a really easy opportunity to transition over towards the A position. Lockdown comes in. Great recon. Bolton gets an intel as they press forward. Gunplay so active up front. 2 down for Bolt. Panda eliminated. Great responsiveness from Nazareth as now Dreammaker waits to go in but gets hit by the lockdown. They can't do anything. They're a sitting duck up top. And now, since it's been planted, there's only 2 left to see if they can re-entry onto this. Got that Owl drone up top, attempting to try and get to a Dreammaker, pressing forward now that the suppression has ended. Taking a long angle, seeing if they're going to peek. They go out for it.
Or elbow.
Doesn't get it. They actually still hesitate. Now they see it now. Shot goes wide again. Beautiful peek. They've got to dive onto this, though. If they don't, it is going to be Nazareth able to get it, and they can hold as long as they need to. And that's the attackers at least getting this win to still close the gap. It is a mountain to climb. We've said it once before. We find ourselves in that position again for Nazareth, but that win has to really make them feel confident going into this round swap.
I mean, Boise State was definitely in a bad position there for pushing A. They couldn't clear hell. They had to push right into it. As you see, Gonzo just swings at and misses both shots with the shorty. It's just sad to see. So Gonzo really pulling that out, able to cancel the rotations and barely missing that operator shot as well onto that KO. Definitely hurt Boise State as well. So just those tiny little micro aims hurting them. But now, Boise State on the attack up against the Nazareth defense. Hopefully we see Nazareth get more aggro. As soon as they matched the aggression coming out from Boise State, they were able to win around and capitalizing and getting so many of those eliminations.
Nice response when I saw to that recon bolt. Did not give them intel on how many are there. Shot comes through. Headhunter gets one. Gonzo eliminated, and now has the rendezvous available to utilize if they need it. Nanoswarm toward that back position so they can aggress around boats. So they have an angle onto the double doors in the back, but nice equalizer from Basic. Basic is actually 1 HP though, and Panda comes in big right here for this pistol round with the assistance of Dreammaker.
Yeah. I believe that was Basic there, just staring at the ground. I don't know what they were doing, but definitely just frozen for a second, unable to capitalize and help his teammates. As Ceramic coming in, taking down Dreammaker in the backline, but in a 2v1 situation, J-Back pushing forward with very little HP. Panda just trying to spray through the wall with this Sheriff, ends up just throwing out the gun, going for the melee!
Oh, and gets shut down, but with that much time being bought, they might have been able to block it. No, there is enough time to get that defuse. And this is where I said, you know, I commend Boise State. I love the players. But now that was a moment where you could have secured just to keep yourself refined and sharp. And as we take a look at it one more time, the blade
wastes all his ammo, throws it down, and says,
we'll let this play just self-explain itself. You know? I
mean, Ceramic closing it out with a quad. They haven't really been choking underneath the pressure when they're the final teammate remaining. They've been getting multiple eliminations even when they do get eliminated. So Ceramic on this Killjoy has been doing work for their team.
And now Panda looking to lead with that recon bolt. All aggression from Boise State over towards this A position. Seeing if they can potentially get another trick play going into that smoke.
See the three members of Nazareth quickly swap over. Ceramic with the first blood.
Finished.
Make that two.
Nice job again. Ceramic getting two. Ceramic's really stepping up here towards these later portions of the rounds. Always seeing a lot of value coming out from them in these clutch factors, and as they do continue to maintain this low ground position, Boise State, I don't think they're going to have time nor the ability to really rotate away, especially because you have these two guarding from Nazareth in that middle position.
Yeah, able to jump and see a lot of that intel. Boise State very slow to push up, taking even some poke through the wall. Loses one from Anchor with the crossfire. Jabal finally able to clear out Ceramic from the side, but with no jet, can't dash to it. And Anchor had that crossfire set up through the door over by that tree. So Boise State not looking too good here as it is 2v4.
And the health value is so low on one of those two for Boise State. That chamber play, you could just look at them and they'll get taken down. As Javald goes down, now you really just have to look at them. Everybody's going to be eyes out for Shells. And as they peek the corner, does actually get one. Gonzo goes down. All right, Shell's going to go out with a bang here. They're not allowing themselves to be outmatched just yet.
21 HP and a dream.
Yeah, 21 HP and a dream indeed. Trying to make Dreammaker proud. Okay, there you go.
He accepted his fate.
I accept everything.
Definitely that moment of just spray gun into the air as you get riddled with bullets. But look at just the rotation for Boise State now, just all going over to that B site. I think they might have a plan this time. Just maybe.
Maybe they'll use the decoy trick again, where it's actually them and not a decoy, and just. I'd love to see
fool
that
me once,
again.
shame on you. Fool me twice. We'll have to wait and see.
Right?
We'll have to wait and see. Even bringing out the shorty.
Yeah, they are going to bring out the shorty. They're going to drop the spike too. Hand it off actually to Dreammaker, as Gonzo gets the initial pickup outside of the smoke. Dreammaker doesn't like this and is actually going to rotate heavily to the outside. Boise State needs to abandon here this defensive position, and also this round as a whole for Nazareth is a great opportunity for them to try and stabilize and bring this to these later rounds. Still have quite a bit to go, but they are doing very well with these initial rounds.
Yeah, Dreammaker clearing out the mid, having no real pressure, as we can see Anchor all the way on the other side of the map, clearing out all of that hallway as well. Whereas that KO is still holding out in spawn. Sheriff going to come out from the ball down to 24 HP. Time's not on their side, so they either need to go for that aggressive push that we've seen them actually be able to capitalize on, or rotate out over to A and challenge, you know, the 1v4. Definitely don't have the health advantage. Taking down the turret as well. Very slow push. This is something we wanted to see from Boise, and it's been working for them. But as soon as he turns his back,
that was a great responsive play though to that middle position up by Pizza through the doorway. And you've got Ceramic coming out again here dominantly.
5
it's
HP.
Only Dreammaker. I mean, this is where you've got Nazareth now starting to be able to get such an economy advantage.
an iconic takeaway.
I was gonna say an iconic, yeah, right. A little bit.
I mean,
an
it
iconic
has been.
economic advantage.
Ceramic's back has to hurt. I mean, it has to. They've just been performing so well. They're the first ult for the game as well.
Yes, we do have these seconds dwindle now. Boise State. Come on, friends. We know you can do it. we know that this is out of character. We love you for it. And seeing if they can do something now. J-Bank gonna look to open into that space, getting some initial fire through the smokes as they play over towards this boathouse position. They're gonna lead in with the Euro again. The decoy gonna potentially cause some harassment in that middle position. Now with Panda pushing up towards tree, still not fully committing into it as that dart. We won't talk about that. And Dreammaker just play in the corners.
I mean, guys, you're the attackers, not defenders. You don't need a corner camp. It's okay. Going for the tree push from Shells as soon as he looks away. Doesn't even take the poke damage. Probably should have set up the rendezvous, but perfectly timed smoke will allow him to rotate out of there. Boise State taking huge
Boise
command
did
of
get
the
the
mid.
pickup too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boise did manage to get an early pickup here, so that's an opportunity now as they do look to try and draw back just ever so slightly. Retreating away, Shell's just going to play this long angle for anyone to push out into it, but nobody's actually committing to it. With J-Bags now getting another, Stitchy goes down. They're going to collapse on to Basic, who's left alone. They're not. Just getting him in the back.
J-Bag with a triple.
That's the time. That's the time you could have knifed him. That's the time you could have knifed him.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but ooh, big aggressive play coming out from Inger. J-Bag looking for that penta. He's on a triple right now. This would be a good time for Ceramic to try to push up as well, seeing as he did get the smoke from the jet on the left.
Oh no. Oh, they go for a trades.
Oh,
but Boise State's going to get it. Yeah, that was a multi-point entry. You had one over by door, one up by door, correction, two by doors, one by bow, and then one moving up channel. And then it was just like, all right, everybody's just going to fire on everybody. And then at that point, it's Boise with more numbers, and then it equalizes.
Yeah, so a huge play from Boise State. They got aggressive, but not overly aggressive. I think they played that very well, whereas Natharis did actually have a good answer. I mean, they took down, I believe it was 2 members of Boise State. Now the sniper coming out forward chamber. Boise State does still have the ultimate advantage. I really want to see the Killjoy ult come out here. They've been holding on to it for multiple rounds now.
Yeah, Tour de Force is going to lead the way for Shells here. If anybody pushes out into the open, they will be a sitting duck. They will be mounted on the wall. So you do have a nice flash coming through and a huge collapse onto this, but you still actually have Nazareth able to get the better end of it. Despite being forced back, 12 HP J-Bag now might look to potentially try to regroup for the assistance with Shells so they can get a plant. They have been seen, though. Visibility has been gained. Shells now with a rendezvous, still available with this tour de force, waiting for someone to push forward. Oh, no. They're going to move out, and that's going to be it. Owl? Oh. They know you're there, friend. They know you're there, friend.
They have eyes
They
on.
know you're there, friend.
He's coming for you.
Suppression now active. And won't be able to use any further.
Just a stare down there.
Shells, if you pull this off, I will come out there and hug you. I am miles. I'm a number of states away.
Rich Rat on desk? When?
I know, right? It will be like real desk, real in-person desk, okay?
Let's do it. Make it happen. Tomorrow, we'll see you.
We'll see. I will be next day shipped.
I mean,
all right, Stitchy comes out and makes that dream not a reality. But you know, there's never
never say never.
Yeah, never say never. Agreed. I would agree with that. Trust me, I still owe I think dinner to Doc since I didn't get to meet him at Hugh. So now we're here and I owe him dinner. As we now go into this next round, 10-7, 3 rounds away for Boise State to take this, and giving a lot of credit here to Nazareth to be able to clean this up.
I mean, they definitely brought it back. They were at, what, 2 rounds going into this defense, and now they're up to 7. Boise State is up to 10, but still holding on to this Killjoy ult. Like, Symmetric, you are very good, but please use your utility and a huge push mid.
1 for 1, though. That's a big upgrade, too,
Oh,
if they can pick
Judge.
that up. As Gonzo down below in the back is going to wait. I'd really, really like to see everybody just rush B right now because they have a huge advantage, hoping to see if they can take it. Shells in this middle position. Watching a decent angle, though, if anybody moves in from that right-hand side through Pizza.
Both Killjoy ults are up, so either could easily push into B with it and definitely displace Gonzo holding the B back. But with that Judge, it's a very dangerous position to push. Jabald only having a Sheriff pushing up as aggressive as he is. And the Marshal coming out here, able to find one, but the smoke perfectly timed by the Astra might have saved his life.
Oh my, what a turn of events right now. J-Bag has the Marshal, though. Actually going to go for a plant here.
Doesn't go
And they're not going to peek out fast enough. J-Bag has the Paranoia. No, actually the Dark Cover. Correction. They're going to use that first. And look to hold by boat, but they don't know.
Gonzo might.
There's still one.
Goes for
Oh, wow,
smoke.
that was a lightning fast star to place and going to try and get it. Is anybody
He's
going to
going
rotate back
for
to
it.
compete against
Spray
it?
play,
They're
nobody-
not
he
going to
gets it
turn the boat
halfway.
fast enough. They're going to spray into the smoke now.
Oh.
J-Bag gets the elimination with Shells, and they have this. Wow. That could have been actually really disastrous really fast. if they
Win for
played
the
that.
Ninja Defuse. I mean, they got it halfway with Jabal just trying to spray and pray the best they can, but
See, if they would have held that, if they would have not wavered from it, and they would have 100% committed, they would have gotten it. That's the thing, and it's one of those little tedious plays where it's, 50-50 chance, and sometimes you just gotta take your risks, and that would have been one that would have been worthwhile.
I mean, Boise State never cleared the back of B, and that's definitely a lesson learned there of just could have lost that round. If they had cleared back, they would have never had that issue, but they also just never truly had full control of the side. They thought Basic on that Sova was the only one, but little did they know. Now Anchor finally bringing out the op to take down J-Bag for first blood.
Yep, great opportunity to give them another round so that they can find themselves in an economic benefit. As Hunter's Fury comes out, Basic actually gets an elimination onto J-Bag.
Ooh, sees the head.
Ooh, this is getting a little dicey. As Dreammaker down below puts some crown control up top. Anchor not ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, he has control of hell. He can hold it. He knows. Anchor's up there.
Oh
Perfect
my,
timing.
beautiful reaction.
Panda the
So
human
key.
shield.
So key. Or are they gonna take a full rotate? They could. They actually
They
are.
are.
I like this. They're gonna look to try and rotate, but look at how Nazareth is rotating in kind. And they're going to be in that middle position to try and see if they can get Shells once they press forward through this position. And look at Dreammaker is locked into a corner, gets
Crossfire,
hit through
though.
the wall bang.
30 seconds left.
Oh no, oh no.
Oh, doesn't check the angle.
There it is. Doesn't check the inner corner and now makes it 11-8. And Nazareth is still not out of this yet.
Yeah, they've really brought it back. I mean, finally they were able to commit the Killjoy, which I'm very happy about. But now they have to worry. Now Boise State's going to have to worry about both the Astral Wall coming up and the Jet Knives, whereas Boise State only has the Killjoy to answer it. And I definitely think they could have won that push had he swung it a bit wider. He could have checked that whole angle and then checked the close 90, but he just had to push right into it. Time was not on his side.
Now, aggression coming out from Anchor is going to be able to get blinded for the moment.
They know the
They
decoy's
know
down.
that it's
Please
down.
tell me you call it out for the rest of your team so Boise State cannot go for another fake out here.
Yeah, that's a definite necessity. Watch somebody will do it again, and they'll be just like, "What happened?"
This is where Sweaty Comms comes in. You gotta call decoys down. You gotta call that out. But
Now J-Bag moving in to this middle position. This is where Boise now is finally playing super slow and methodical because they don't want this to get away from them.
I mean, they had such a commanding lead going into this attack, and they've lost it. So this is definitely where you want to kind of just tighten things up and go for those last 2 rounds that you need to come out with a victory here. But with time not in their favor right now, they need to push one of these sites. They're playing very split right now. And Nazareth still has the 3 ultimates to swing it.
And J-Bag, again, just waiting. 36 seconds left. They have 3 in position on this defensive side for B. I would really like to see Panda move in from Pizza. Anchor now going to be just on the outside of the lockdown, so that is so unfortunate. They won't be able to have to worry about getting themselves, but that's the dark cover. Great responsiveness, but oh no! You get a 2-piece here coming out the kill. Oh, and Anchor follows up on the rest of them. This is just spelling disaster right now for Boise State.
Flawless for Nazareth. That's the first loss we've seen from them. Ascent has just been their map on defense.
They're doing quite well and able to play this because, again, they, from Boise State, had a really, really good setup. They had the lockdown initially. They did then also block with a dark cover, so if anybody was outside of the radius that they couldn't get the sight lines in, but with that being committed, they did have this side angle from down below to find the 2-piece that came through, and you know, it's just every one of these small micro plays that start building up, and Boise State is just unfortunately finding themselves always on the back foot.
And now Nazareth has 4 of their ultimates. He knew it was the duplicate and didn't go for it. They're learning. So proud
learning
to see that.
Indeed.
I mean, yeah, they brought it back, and now a solid push continuing on to A after it's already been called out by Nazareth is definitely a ballsy play coming out from Boise State with all 4 members stacked up on that single door by A.
Now waiting.
Ooh.
Damage through the box. J-Back says, I'm done with it. And now managing to get that vision, though, is available because the recon bolt. Both the nano swarms committed into this. Oh, Jabal, please put the plant down. Please go in for the plant as Panda gets that opportunity to do so. Dropping it over by box. Now in the default, and they're going to need to be super cautious as the Hunter Fury comes out and actually gets the damage onto him.
And these 2 survive, but not for long as Gonzo comes in with the double. It's another round for Nazareth, and they went from, what, 10-2 to now it's 11-10? They brought it back. They want us to go to a map 3.
Yeah, they do. And again, this is the playoffs. Maybe they're getting a revitalized opportunity. And again, this is in a map that they typically haven't played too well, at least from the attacking position. But defensively, they've allowed themselves to really coordinate and start to bring down Boise State, making it a lot more challenging for them. But it all kind of stems, you know, from those initial plays. Like that knife kill, even when we think about what that means in the long run, when you lose that round and you don't have the advanced economy that you did give to Nazareth, it's all of those micro just economical plays that start giving an opportunity for Nazareth that once they do have these guns online, there's no way for Boise State that they've been able to recover.
Yeah, as you've been mentioning, those little just mishaps have been adding up, and now it's come to a culmination, whereas Anchor's getting another first blood against the Omen, who even had the ult up. So that's huge lost value for Boise State now going up against the quad ult as Killjoy gets taken out and gets the ult up.
Oh, he's going to come right out, gets the flash as well, has to bail now. Does come out dimensional. No longer going to give value as Panda gets up Anchor, which is massive that you remove the operator from the equation. As Panda now is in with that drone, looks to get some intel onto the opposing team. Stitch actually gets a pickup on the shells. Nobody actually punishes him for it either.
Yeah, now Boise State finally getting control of A. Spike will go down, but getting the split push from Gonzo coming from the spawn. Dreammaker's just going to deny the heaven push and gets a clean
there it is.
Triple with
and
that
this is
off.
a thrifty. This is a thrifty round. They get a couple of really great gun pickups, and the fact that they were down in economy and got those early takes, especially getting rid of that op play from the Jet, that was just so critical for them to be able to take this round.
Boise State finally able to break their loss streak that they've been on for 4 rounds now, maybe even 5. So bringing us to match point right now. It's where Nazareth needs to win this round. And I expect them to start pressing X like madmen since they have 4 of their 5 ults.
You can see one dark Dreammaker going to look to see if they can get that orb. They do. They're not going to guarantee that they'll get the ultimate, but they're going to attempt to see if they can maybe get somebody once again pushing into this. Turret does get a few shots as there's some chip damage onto Nazareth. Turret, though, going to go almost down, but still survives.
Yeah, also got the Nano Swarm to come out on that A wall. Only Anchor's there to hold as two members just stacked up over in that Gardens area. Boise State still going for a push on mid. Great smoke to block out Gonzo and that KO. Three members now swapping all the way over to B for a push. Boise State very split, trying to bring it back.
Cosmic Divide is active. They're committing to this. They want to see if they can try and hold it here, but Boise State might be able to at least buy enough time. And the fact that they do have this wall here, you actually can't hear the number of footsteps that could be here from Boise State. So this is an advantage to try and outplay Nazareth as they do move through together. Now, Omen play in the back. They're going to recognize that they have to move her as a unit. Basic gets the takedown. Nobody can give assistance to J-Back fast enough. The trades are going in favor of Nazareth to bring this into another round. And now it's only two left. One now, all on Panda's shoulders and can't do anything about it. The coordination falls short with the Omen reposition from the ultimate, and they are able to capitalize on it.
Nazareth has brought this back. They're not going to go down without a fight here and just really tighten up their defense. And Boise State just hasn't been able to get that play. And the whole round was just the one Astral. They've maintained their other three, so they still have a ton of utility for them, whereas Boise State only has the Killjoy. They're going to have to play around it so aggressively in order to win this round and try to close out match point before we head over into overtime.
Shells is going to probably play aggressively to get that orb too, so they got the Tour de Force online since they are just one shy. They opted only for the pistol here, so that's most likely what they're playing. They go into this aggressively. Oh my, Dreammaker, you are ballsy and lucky all in the same instance, but then go down by the blades. And you've got Boise State now going to see Nazareth able to get it a numbers advantage again and looking to put themselves at an even 12.
Ooh. Anchor now with a triple as Basic finishes off the ball. J-Back able to take down Basic at least. I mean, he has side control and the spike, but in a 1v4 situation up against two ults as well. Only on watch one angle at a time. There goes the nade.
Ooh, compression into the lockdown. You're not going anywhere.
I mean, they did get a ton of value there as Nazareth committed all of the ults they had there, even the KO one, so Boise State did get them to waste a lot of utility. Little wins. We're taking little wins here.
One more time. Yeah, little ones. Taking a look at it one more time again. Solely going to be the Omen play and dropping the spike. I mean, playing forward, they did have an opportunity to potentially get that elimination, but unfortunately it's going to fall short, despite their attempt is now. Again, we are looking to see that there is actually going to be a timeout coming in from Nazareth. So at this point, we have the opportunity now to try and bring it into a game 3. Boise State, with their economy and how they've just had this ebb and flow. Every time that they've most likely gotten an opportunity, it's more so because of either they play too hyper-aggressive, feeling overly confident, or they are being punished because of their hesitation in their reactions.
Yeah, started out really strong, but now there's really brought it back. And so if we head into a map 3, I mean, this is very bad looking for Boise State with how of a commanding lead they had on Split, and now Ascent going the way it has. I mean, Nazareth is looking for a reverse sweep right now, and we did see Gonzo did go for the timeout as well, so maybe it was a technical issue. We will have to just wait and see how that plays out. But also, when we had that quick look at the scoreboard, we did see an operator back on the board, so Anchor's still holding on to it and been really winning a lot of those snipers. At the top of the round we just saw, Shells got eliminated immediately. You said he was going for the ult orb, and Anchor was right on top of it. So just being a man down right at the start is a huge loss. So now Boise State officially in overtime. I have to wait and see if they'll be able to bring it back, because now it's going to be, we need to win 2 rounds in a row to close this out.
And it's now 2 kids in a park on a seesaw. Who's going to be able to get the bigger weight?
who just gets the bigger jump at this point because we're just perfectly even. You just got to call in mom or dad and just say, jump on my side. We take this.
Hey, please, please, please. Slingshot, go. Owl drone up top. They get intel on one, but not the second. So they do not know that two are there. So you've got Anchor playing close by.
You know, with Boise State now on the defense, this is where we've seen them perform the best.
Couple of shots come through. Anchor now playing aggressively over by the smoke because you do have the nano swarm there. Aggression actually going to get them decent. Oh, the damage isn't going to be enough, and they unfortunately don't get the elimination they would have liked. Still a 5 for 5, but Nazareth now super low on 2 individuals. Oh, but a huge pickup comes in. Boise State just doing wonders right now on this with a full buy and gets the team ace.
That was a clean execution. It was just one after another. As soon as the kills start coming in, Boise State just continued that momentum forward, which is exactly what we wanted to see from them to finish this out. But we take a look at this replay. I mean, just being stuck in the back gets the shot as well from, I believe that was Panda. I mean, it was just back and forth. Anchor going down to 46 HP against, I believe that was even Dream. No, it was the Chamber. So much back and forth. Now back to match point for Boise State. But this time they're back on attack. See if they'll finally be able to win an attack round and close this out.
Got the whole line so they can work with it. They don't have to be too fearful of what their spending is. With Anchor now holding that doorway, gonna take that high ground position onto the box and go up top in heaven. As the aggression once again comes out over by B, rushing forward. Boise State seeing if they can capitalize onto basic, but does get one. So they do trade out, but this post plant is significant for Boise State to try and take advantage of this. But Gonzo gets a shutdown onto Shells.
Yeah, had a great flank. Now just getting a huge pinch. Jet with the shorty even going in. Misses both shots. Still gets it. Against Jabal now. Dreammaker able to at least try to even things out. Taking down Stitchy. Still 2-2. But Ceramic with a great master flank right now. Looking for the 2 remainers.
Boise State has the advantage health-wise. It's the Jet play that's literally a sliver of health. Panda has to be cautious pressing out here. Dreammaker playing it. No, they're going to get the flank onto it, and the defending side wins, making it a 13-13 score. Once again, you see Nazareth coming out and just being able to dominate, exploiting the subtle weaknesses of Boise State where they had their backs to the enemy.
Yeah, the turret was disabled, so they didn't even have anything to secure their back. And Anchor so lucky with that play, even after missing both shots with that shorty, still taking it down. Jabal there, so Ceramic really bringing it back for his team right there with an amazing flank. Just to put out how much emphasis that was, it's just nobody heard him. They had no cover. No one was watching their sick. It was brutal. So now Boise State's definitely going to capitalize on the duplicate is gone. So again, you know they're panic calling it out after just the one mistake. So Boise State trying to decide where they want to try to defend against this Nazareth push. Because since we're in overtime, they swap every time. It's going to be constant back and forth of who's who, who's in what color.
It's gonna be a color fiesta. That's what we'll call it. Is you've got J-Back still holding with that smoke up top. Everyone from Nazareth is just going to wait so that they can enter. They're really just running the clock because they're playing the mental game now. They're putting Boise State in a really, really uncomfortable position. The spike is still over by A. J-Bag now ready for the smoke once again with Paranoia. Oh my goodness, lands onto all 4 of them. J-Bag comes in with a big pickup for the 4 Paranoia stack. And now Gonzo and Ceramic are tucking tails and running.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, Spike's even down. Asher was able to pick it up, but very low health. Killjoy even less. Basic, the last remaining full health member, is trying to hold mid, but Dreammaker's going to go in. As he's there, gets it.
Oh, there it is.
That might spell the end for this round, but Ceramic brings it back, taking down Dreammaker, even with how low his HP is.
1 enemy remaining.
Oh, they're going to walk right out into it. Panda's there waiting. The waiting arms of Panda. As we now see Boise State once again taking the lead. and need to be able to execute on this attacking side. It has not yet been an attacking side favor because that is going to be the defining factor.
Yeah, right now Ascent just being that defender map right now is whoever's defending has been able to come out with the win, as you mentioned. So someone needs to win on attack here with the spike, or is it just go on forever? I mean, the record right now for Boise State in overtime is 34 matches, I believe. So hopefully we don't get there and this closes out, but Nazareth's not going to go down without a fight. So we'll have to wait and see who's able to close this out. Wants that ultimate orb to get that Killjoy online.
Activated the swarm grenade. You've got Boise State on this attack, wanting to make sure that they do not have anybody hidden in the back, lurking in the distance. It's now Nazareth. This is the opportunity. Nazareth is now maneuvered away. They don't have the heaven position just yet. They're going to network into it. The nanoswarms are probably going to become active. Anchor now looking to see if they can take down Dreammaker. They do. But with that done, now they have to completely collapse over to see if they can try and turn this.
Yeah, Spike's down now, so the pressure is all on Nazareth. They don't have the numbers advantage anymore.
Panda, where are you? How are you even over there? As Panda now is going to try and take a wide position. J-Back gets the elimination onto Anchor,
Stitch
and now
low,
it's just one
it.
remaining player. Stitch, she goes down. And Boise State, after a multitude of rounds, finally are able to take this best of 3. What a day.
I mean, for being a 4-4 team up against Boise State, who was 5-3, that was a super close match. First map was pretty dominant for Boise State, but on Ascent, Nazareth just brought it back with a vengeance and really gave Boise State a run for their money, as we've been saying all stream. So Boise State finally able to close it out. And with this only being round 1 of the playoffs, you have to wonder how the rest of the games are going to go. If they're going to be that close neck and neck, this is going to be a long playoffs for Boise State.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to play, but also a lot to learn from when we do take a look at a lot of different things into this. And this is probably going to be one of those games where they can evaluate and say, all right, these are some of the things that we do have to tighten up to make sure that as we do go through this playoff, that we make sure that we are stepping up and showing up.
Yeah, so now as we close out her cast for the Valorant, I have to ask, out of everyone who had their moment in the spotlight, player of the game.
I mean, I still have to say Dreammaker overall. Like that's just a personal thing. I know that Shells did still have, their highlight moments, but just personally, at least for me, it all came down to the fake out with the decoy. Among everything else they already did. Like they still got multi-kills, they got great usage, and their utility was on point. But that for me was just kind of that little cherry on top that says you're a mind bender, friend.
And I would have to agree for my own side of Panda. He brought out the Odin and got a triple. I mean, come on, man. That's exactly what I asked for. So what's not to love about it? So we have to wait and see who will end up getting player. I mean, it can honestly go to any member of the squad. They all have their moments in the sunlight. They all had fantastic plays of huge, flashy multi-kills across the 2 maps. I'm very surprised we did not go to a map 3 with how hard Nazareth was playing, but it was whoever was on defense ran away with it, and Boise State finally got the attack push that they needed on A to take it away. So player will have to be just wait and decide it as we throw it over. Ooh.
Oh, it is going to be Panda.
Let's go!
Oh, no, yeah, it is Panda. Okay. All right, we saw him once before, and now we're going to see him again. Panda is going to be able to get the multi-kills necessary, as you can see in these plays, and even getting the spray through the dark cover as well. And again, I'm not discrediting it at all. I just really liked Dreammaker's play today. But Panda
100%.
has been very consistent.
I've been saying it again and again. Every person on this team has had their moment in the sun multiple times through this one match of 2 maps. So huge kudos to the BSU team, but W Panda is going to be the ICCU player of the game, which is brought to us by the Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central's helping members achieve financial success. Panda is going to be the Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game, and hopefully we see that Odin play. If not, I'm just going to cry a little on my own. But maybe we saved it for the time. There it is.
There it is.
We love to see. I mean, the 13 HP, man. There's just so. But that is going to do it for us here at the Boise State broadcast. But we are not completely done because we still have some Overwatch matches to go after this, so make sure to stay tuned. But that will do it for here on the Valorant cast. So, Rich Rad, your final thoughts?
I mean, again, we saw some serious quality play coming out. We highlighted multiple scenes over the course of the 2 games that we did play. One thing is just that for Boise State to make sure that they don't find themselves getting too lax in the chairs and making sure that they do elevate themselves in these moments and make sure that they look for the follow through and what that end goal is. And if they can continue to do that going through these playoffs, I think they can be a real top contender here.
Well, a ton to look forward to. We got 4 more rounds of the playoffs to go. So make sure to come back when those are played, I believe, next week at this exact same time. So exciting times. But we're going to go ahead and leave you with the top 5 plays of the game brought to us by the Idaho Army National Guard, which invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time with more than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 sign-on bonus. The Idaho Army National Guard is the best team to join out there. Make sure to reach out to them on Twitch at iGuard Gaming, and make sure to stick around for some more Overwatch to come.
Nice job here coming in with a wall-baited counter. Jabald has to be, kind of kicking themselves after that one. They did top their allies up, but this is only just running out of time. Somebody's got to push to it. Void's going to play aggressively around the corner, has the dark cover, puts the wall up, so buys some time. Somebody's got to move through to get it, and they actually can't do it. Boise State will get picked best to their ability and actually gets away. Rendezvous is available. The Cosmic Divide isn't going to get any assistance now, and with this slow, methodical play, going to find 2. Panda comes out, just obliterating anybody that enters the crosshair, gets another through the smoke for the 4th. Pressing forward, it's seek and destroy right now. They know they have the numbers advantage and the gunplay advantage. They lead in with the sentries to make sure that they can get that from the sky. Ultimate couple go down, so it does stem a little bit of the bleeding, but the showstopper with a double goes for 1 in the back and gets it.
With the early elimination, though.
Yeah, in that middle position, somebody pushed out to the open of the board. Was there. Pete comes out by Dreammaker. The potential pickup with the Marshall isn't going to be there. Now does get the ricochet, finds another one. Dreammaker is on. See if they can get any sort of information onto J-Bag, but J-Bag's just sitting cleanly behind this box and going to wait for anybody to push in.
I mean, he doesn't have an Odin, so we'll see if he can make it happen. The perfect time for the smoke as the jet comes flying in. Big exchange.
No. That's a 3rd.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Hello and welcome into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. You are watching our coverage tonight of Boise State versus Illinois State. You see our lovely production in the back as we do our Around the World here. Tonight we are getting into more high stakes matchups. We're approaching the playoffs here. So Boise State is really trying to pick up a win tonight against a very high level, high skill team. I am your host, Colby D'Angelo Alloway, and joining me to call all of the action will be Richard Rickfrad Pontillo in Overwatch. And I have to ask, what is Illinois State bringing to this? Because I understand they're a team that you know a lot about.
Yeah, Illinois State University, they've had leaps and bounds when it comes to looking at them over the course of, the last 6 months, really. I mean, having multiple players go out to OWL, which is huge. They're restructuring when it comes to their roster in and of itself, their academic leaders that have really been able to build this team. Also, even just with a lot of the adaptation when it comes to their, recent change up where Iron, their off tank, had unfortunately, had to take a step away from the team, and React also stepping into this, having to fill a role which he's not typically been one to fill this before, more notoriously in the history as that flex ADC or just a hit scan to, sub in, but taking on this role that they've never really done before, now having an opportunity to flex and demonstrate themselves as this off tank that is needed for this team. There's a lot of things to really focus on when it comes to ISU, and they are quite a competitor here, as we've seen continuing through the OWCCS.
Boise State is definitely going to have to really rise to it if we want to come out on top here. And in the NACE Collegiate Overwatch League, it is a 6v6 competitive. We're not in Overwatch 2 yet. It is a best of 5. The map order goes Control, Hybrid, Escort, Assault, and then Control. And it is double elimination. So Boise State needs to win this tonight to stay in the playoffs here. Are there any specific comps that you're expecting?
I mean, there's a variety of different things. I mean, what we've even seen recently, if we just look at this past weekend when it came to the Collegiate Championship, a lot of this double shield composition where it came to the, Arisa Sigma. There was also some rush dynamics when it came with the Reinhardt and the Diva play. A lot of Wrecking Ball as well. That's been another dynamic that we've seen rolled into the mix here. I know I've seen a little bit more of the ISU compositions than the Boise as of most recently to see what they're going to bring into this. So that's another thing that I'm also really interested to see how they're going to play. But what we've seen previously is a lot of the Wrecking Ball when we come to Mac Merc, along with also the tank line. There's a lot of mobility that comes through this, and like you mentioned, we've got a massive bracket here when it comes to the NACE Star League for us to be able to see how we move through this playoff winners bracket to see if Boise can continue to stay in this upper bracket, because it is a challenge going into a team like Illinois State.
And we knew that going in. They're ranked number 3. We are ranked number 6. We expect tonight to be somewhat of a close matchup, but Boise State is unfavored here and will really have to come out with a strong showing if they want to continue in this bracket. Ideally, a strong showing on map 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the control map is one to really set the tone. Let's be honest. I mean, that's the biggest reason
absolutely.
Why.
Both teams are coming at it equally. What are some specific strats on Lijiang Tower that you know to be effective?
I mean, the biggest thing that we like to take note of is when they utilize either the Symmetra play that can come in for, TPing and maneuvering, but also we get a little bit of the flavor of the Junkrat where you can have a lot of opportunity, especially if we go into control center first.
Yep.
Just because you have that narrow bottleneck area, you have that side corridor that you can utilize. But if we transition to, let's say, something like, when it comes to Garden or Night Market, either one of them have a lot of verticality to it. So Pharah play, Mercy combination has been so substantial. Even, a light inkling of, Symmetra when it comes to Night Market a little bit more so than the Garden map. You can still see it on Garden. It's not as relevant. It still can have a lot of value, but again, we also have, seen a highlight before already from Boise State when it comes to, the Lijiang Tower matchup where we had Bagel manage to get a multi-kill knockback.
Huge. Yep.
Into the river below, or the lake below, or water below. I think it's a small
little koi pond.
It's a little koi pond. Yeah, let's not give it more credit than it deserves. It's a pond.
And some keys to the game that will help Boise State try to overcome this gargantuan task are in Overwatch. Understand your comp/play style. Focus on each fight. Get good ult value. And the objective is greater than kills. And Doc's keys to the game are brought to us by Drop-In Gaming. Drop-In Gaming is the premier online platform for gamers who seek competition. Play your favorite games to win cash and prizes through free and paid entry matches and tournaments. Whether you are new to the scene or a seasoned veteran, Drop-In Gaming has the right games and competition for you. To begin your competitive gaming journey, sign up at dropingaming.com. And we do have some lineups for tonight. We definitely are. We have our starting players out. We have the players that will do the best to their ability. That is Matt Merck, that is Kel, that is Frost, Plato, Chosen, and Bagel. These are our starters that are coming out against tonight. And today's lineup is brought to you by Count. Count's Identity Trust Global Network delivers real-time fraud prevention, account protection, and enables personalized customer experience for more than 9,000 leading brands. This is the dream team going into it. They know they have a hard task ahead of them, and they are really trying to kind of like go in this and get the win, because if they don't get it, they are out. And this first control point will establish kind of the tone for the rest of the matchups, or at least we expect it to. And with that, I think we're going to go ahead and get started and get ready to go into map number 1, which will be Lijiang on that control.
And, taking a look at the roster and those that they'll be playing against, I mean, my biggest thing to also focus on is how the off tank is really going to play. Because like I said, React has been an individual to step up when it comes to Illinois State University, and there's been a lot really riding on their shoulders. And I think that if Boise State is able to somewhat exploit a little bit of that still developing talent, filling that role and being able to outmatch that, it's going to give Boise State the opportunity to really hit where there's a subtle weak point. But again, it's not an easy task, because we're going to have these doors open entering onto Gardens first, and seeing who is going to be able to get this early advantages. We do see an Echo that's coming out.
Bagel's set up on the speed. Boise State appears to be the ones with that Symmetra on the point already, going against an Echo Tracer.
Tracer's going to get a lot of harassment in the back, too. You can see it. There is easy recognition of that. Kel getting very low. Has to be cautious, as you do have Bagel and Chosen fueling them. But Plato now getting the Discorder. Has to be cautious going into this. Actually plays very, very aggressive to get the counterplay onto Rupel, who has been quite a substantial Zen player prior. And Matt Merck getting that early advantage is going to allow this further snowball for Boise State to take this first. And because of that little bit of a bamboozled play from the Symmetra, they will be able to claim this.
And it does look like Matt Merck has come up with both of the eliminations on the side there. Overall, a huge job by Boise State. That first fight, we did exactly what we needed to do, which was establish that we are not a team that is just going to roll over for Illinois State here, as the Echo Duplicate is going to come out. So is Amplification Matrix. Echo's going to dive into the back as that Echo Diva. Kel's going to come back with them on that. They're going to launch the bomb straight into the middle of the Broncos, who are already down 2 here. Now just down 1 with the elimination of GG, and then Matt Merck is going to come up immediately after that. And that looks like Boise State might be out of this, especially as Illinois State is going to get the res. Kel, the last member there, just trying to get a precious extra percent there. And what happened? Boise State had such a dominant first fight win, and then we just kind of got rolled second fight.
Yeah, basically when it came to the early advantage, it was mainly because Echo just used that self-destruct and got so much agency here. It allowed them to swap it back. They got the ultimate quickly, and now going to opt to go onto this Pharah, which is going to get quite a bit of damage here. The teleport comes through, though, by Plato to potentially find an opportunity to reposition the team to swap it back.
Getting that elimination on a Chosen is never what you're looking for, especially being down your main healer. They are going to commit the Reaper ultimate. They will get vision on that Tracer, but this is still a pretty scrappy fight that is not in Boise State's favor here, especially as Echo is going to land the damage boosted direct, no less, onto Goblin, and Lyre's going to go ahead and get that res onto Rupel, leaving Illinois State University with a full team going into this, and barrage for this next fight. You have to think Boise State's expecting that, so all eyes will be on Kel to eat what they can.
And you can see already this pharmacy composition being really, really vital for Illinois State University to try and compete against as they pass that 50% marker. Pulse pump from Vision, who's been able to get quite a bit of picks with it before Earthshatter gets a massive takedown onto 2. Diva before they're able to remix, and the support as well. But there comes a lovely play by Gig, who we know very well on this Wrecking Ball to find some environmental opportunities. But this is still Boise State able to take it for at least a few more percentage before it's going to be Illinois State taking it back.
And it does look like Matt Merck, they will be the last remaining member of Boise State on this point, just trying to see what they can do here. That Boise State did manage to flip it, so they are getting some extra percent as the members here contest, but really all they're doing with getting that extra percent is just kind of charging some ultimates for the side of Illinois State University. Echo, 71% to their next rocket barrage here, and Vision has the pulse bomb, so Boise State will have to look for that as they go in this next engage with no ultimates of their own to counter.
And React having this self-destruct is most likely going to lead with it. Typically likes to enter into an engagement to try and draw back multiple members, especially at this percentage. And we've seen it even earlier just this weekend, trying to use it. Actually could opt to go put it onto the point, though. This would be one of the few maps that you'd be able to get away with it, as there is this duel in the sky. Focusing beam from Goblin does not manage to get the execution onto Echo. Dive into the back position. Coalescence even committed, and Cal is so low.
Arrow is also solo. Beam does not quite land. Goblin can't get those shots in, and nobody from Boise State is going to end up touching the point. And that is really unfortunate. Boise State starting with a huge first fight win, and then they just couldn't keep it together the rest of the point. As we're going to watch this highlight reel from the damage boosted Pharah, the Echo with Liar on that Mercy. Illinois State had less overall healing than Boise State going into this because Boise State was coming in with the Moira and they were coming in with the Baptiste, but they just had so much more damage than Boise State was prepared to deal with.
Yeah, and the other part of it is it wasn't a bad thought process the way that Boise State was going to try and hyper-focus those individuals and going in for the dive. There was just a little bit of a slip-up of acknowledging who was going to be the one committed to try and keeping it in contention for the overtime. As now we enter into this night market position. Once again, you're going to have that Symmetra very quickly onto the point. Illinois State's going to get the advantage out the door. And Goblin's now just going to have to try and rain rockets in there and see if they can get this rocket barrage early or potentially... Oh, what a boom! Wire almost goes down on the outskirts with a concussion mine, but survives by climbing the wall swiftly enough to get back with the rest of the team.
Which is what we expect from as high an elo player as Liar on that Mercy and on that Lucio. Now Matt Merck just trying to touch the point, that will be unable to do so before the point flips, and so they're just going to go ahead and get out of there, which is really the wise decision. Boise State now looking for a plan of attack on the outside, not looking too good that Plato's going to go down. And you have to think, unless Boise State can get a couple of picks here, they're not going to approach the point, which is that with Goblin with a huge boop on Division, leaving both teams even.
Yeah. Overstays their welcome a little bit on the Tracer, does get punished. They have managed to get rid of Vision, which is helpful, but the teleport should be able to get dropped once again. Nano boost onto Goblin, looking for a potential rocket barrage to be gained, but there's not enough players close. Beautiful Bionade coming out from Chosen. This is what we've seen before, though. Multi-frag available afterwards, and that's going to give Boise State an opportunity to take this.
Boise State has the ability to take the point. They really just need individual members to continue to live. The Blizzard's going to come out, which might make that a little bit harder. Vision's going to take out Goblin mid-rocket barrage. Matt Merck's going to get a single kill onto Echo with those mines, but you got to think Boise State might be out of it at this point, as they don't even have percentage on the point. They're just here, giving more percentage to Illinois State University, as this is now what looks like a lost fight, especially as Chosen and Matt Merck are going to go down.
Yeah, the biggest challenge, too, of that was because they had the teleporter to get back with Vision. So even though it was only Vision that went down first, later on having that TP available because nobody from Boise State could focus it down, it gave the opportunity for Gig, React, and others to get back onto this point to contest, especially, again, with the ability to just recover with that shield and no rocket barrage to actually get the most important aspect of dealing enough damage onto those three.
Boise State was not able to destroy the teleporter in time, and so Illinois State got all their members back to the point. But Goblin's going to go ahead and get that elimination onto React, which is huge, though. You are absolutely right. Falling up on Division. Goblin's not done yet. Chosen and Keller are going to go down, leaving both teams even, which is not what we're looking for. A potential Mercy res could be huge here, as Goblin's going to get shattered. Oh, no. And that is just it for Boise State. They're unable to get anybody on the point yet again. Boise State, it's in Doc's keys to the game. The objective is greater than kills. You got to get on that point.
Yeah, and the other, there's that little cheeky moment there. You can see that Liar hides in, wedges themselves in the corner behind the photon barrier so the damage can't get the takedown until the immortality field is up on the cross side. Oh, it's just little plays like those that just make you so sad that you're like, I'm going for this takedown. I'm going for it. I am going to get you. And they're just like, nope. I'm going to stay right here, friend. That's fine. I'm
going to stay right here, and I'm just going to vibe. I don't need to move, and you can't make me, was definitely what they were saying on that Lucio here. What does Boise State have to do to turn this around?
I mean, there's a number of different things. I mean, the key thing is when they're looking for these aggressive positions, like, for instance, the perfect one when it came to the Pharah play. They were going in, they had the nano boost onto it. They, I think, slightly misunderstood the percentage gain going into that. Of course, you get that extra percentage just because the number of rockets that you're putting in, especially when the Reinhardt, you got the flanking position, the couple of hits landed, but it wasn't enough to get the rocket barrage, because if that rocket barrage was online, period, end of statement, that would have been a done fight, and that would have changed the trajectory of a multitude of ultimate economy used into that next fight to then snowball into a potential third round.
And it especially would have gotten Boise State actually on the point instead of just like the 0 to 100 that they just ended up doing on that control point. If that Pharah barrage had been charged just a little bit sooner, because they had Blue Beam the entire time there. So the Mercy was definitely, Bagel was definitely doing the most they possibly could there. Just a couple more shots before the Nano was committed could have turned that map in Boise State's favor. But we do have this next map, Kings Row, coming up onto it. I know you love casting Kings Row here.
See, the funny thing is, though, is in the last 7 days of any Overwatch that I've really been casting, and between either NACE or you know, Collegiate Championship, this has actually been not the favorite. We've been seeing more Numbani in Blizzard World than Kings Row, which has been both refreshing and surprising. So the fact that we're on Kings Row, I'm actually okay with this. I'm really not against it because I get to see it. As we do have now Illinois State on the attacking side first, Boise State defensively, and I do like to see the selection of this May to try and control the tempo here. But you're going to be seeing the same thing coming out here by Illinois State with a mirrored composition, mind you.
I think better May play is going to end up determining who wins this game. Better walls, and with that first pick on the arrow coming out of Goblin, Goblin's going to get eliminated by Gig for it, though, leaving both teams even. This is a pretty reasonable fight in Boise State's favor here.
The big thing is, though, is Plato is still up in this because they do have the ability to control this as they move to the high ground. They've allowed the first tick to go through. Mitigation by Kel with that Diva. Unfortunately, gets knocked down below and is eliminated quickly. And the fact that you have the swap onto the two to regroup in full numbers gives Illinois the advantage heavily to re-engage this because it's only now Goblin getting back to recover.
Boise State did not get the eliminations they needed to get in their re-engage here. They have given up now. At this point, it's just the full point. Boise State backed up, gave him a couple of ticks, which is understandable, but then they couldn't get back in the fight just because Illinois State was attacking everybody that dropped individually instead of Boise State dropping together. And now at this point, Aiko's going to swap over to the Doomfist, so there no longer is the Battle of the Maze, leaving Plato the only one with the Blizzard Ultimate online, which is 66 to there, but React presumably will be able to eat it on the Diva.
Yep, they've been getting a lot better at that. React, I think, has been working on that significantly from even just having the chance to interview and talk with them from a previous game. It's like one day at a time, trying to really just find the strengths, developing in this new role up top. Aiko now going to try and come in, gets chosen in the back, but Gig is down. You've lost the main tank. React has been put in check with Plato by using the slow, but if Plato does go down here, same thing with Matt, that's going to spell disaster. Vision gets two in that exchange, and now you're going to have Boise State unfortunately have to buckle and be able to draw back. Oh,
Goblin.
Oh, Goblin!
Goblin getting the elimination onto Aiko just for a little bit of flavor at the end of the fight there. And Illinois State has not stopped pushing because they ended up winning that fight. They're able to have some members on the cart there. Boise State really needs to make sure their main healer is not the first person eliminated. This was a problem on Lijiang, and this is a problem now because they did not scout out that Doomfist, and Doomfist was able to get the flank and elimination onto the Baptiste.
High noon active by Goblin. Illinois State at this point just says, all right, we will respond, we will draw back. Now with a counter coming through, Bagel goes down, the utility has been removed, the attempts to equalize with Plato and the Blizzard is there and near the cart, and will have to use the Cryo Freeze defensively to survive, but while they take a rest to heal back up, everyone else will fall to the wayside.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
The Blizzard wasn't eaten, which is the good news, but the bad news is it was ultimately not able to get any value, and I see why they used it. They're swapping over onto the Ash there.
No one's on the cart. No, now it's fine. Now there's somebody on the cart. Okay. Illinois is just like, let's go, fam, and then they're just like, oh wait, we have an objective to focus on. As Vision gets another pickup, Shatter in the back. Sound barrier comes out though from Boise State. It's a hot second too late to keep Chosen and Plato alive, and Illinois State is throttling right now.
Boise State has never been in a position where they've been able to get all six and take a fight that they want to take. Illinois State has been super aggressive this whole map and just on Boise State and never giving them the opportunity to set up with all 6 members. And at this point, that's 4 minutes and 12 seconds, approaching third point here.
Now, going to use the application matrix, and the immortality field has to be tossed out so far forward. Goblin gets a triple. Matt also comes in with a swiftness, and that's going to be finally the ability to cauterize the bleeding right now. Boise State holds at the final few meters.
And we've seen teams hold it for 3 minutes or 4 minutes here, so this is definitely doable for Boise State, if hugely difficult. They have finally been able to stabilize and take fights that they want to take. We'll just see if they'll be able to continue to keep everybody alive through those fights.
The open Dragon Strike now gonna come a little bit further behind, attempting to try and cut most of Illinois State off to potentially capitalize onto, but they were able to abandon ship fast enough or divide forward by the health pack so that they didn't have to worry. Now underneath as they reposition forward up towards the payload, Goblin still raining damage in that backline position along with Plato. Shatter comes through, no one knocked down, Aiko's picked up, but 2 also go down in return by Rupel in the back. This Baptiste needs to be controlled and finally is by Plato.
Somebody got him. And then Lyre's going to get Plato for getting too aggressive on that Baptiste there. Matt Merck has pulled out the ball on the point. Gig is just trying to live on that Reinhardt. It looks like they will be able to, but Matt Merck wants it. They go ahead and get it around the shield there. Goblin is peeking, trying to get some damage. They get the elimination on the Lyre, and Boise State might stabilize and stop this cart. Even as Bob goes onto it, Matt Merck, 153 HP, most of which is shields. And Boise State's going to end up stabilizing.
I got to give major credit. The fact that there was that few a time left, or correction, that few a meters left.
Oh
and
my
with how much has
gosh.
been put online. Illinois State now, though, coming in with just about 5 ultimates. They're going to get it. Dragon Strike comes in, leading onto the payload. Amplification matrix is in the back, and I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, though.
Gig will be taken weak. They will not be able to get elimination. Chosen just trying to use MO to keep Kel in mech there. They're going to get charged off the point by Gig. Gig is dropped weak, will be eliminated by Chosen, but with not healing their team a little bit, some of their members go down. Bagel's going to get the elimination on Division. Matt Burke is going to eliminate Lyre. Bagel gets the boop onto Rupel, and that's another fight for Boise State, leaving them with 1 minute and 49 seconds, and this cart has still not capped point 3. This is taken.
5 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like, this is a lot of time that is worn down, and Illinois State is really, really having trouble.
It's taken everything Boise State has had, though, to hold them at bay. Goblin with a 6 snipe onto Aiko. Gotta think that's gonna bleed some more time out of the clock here for Boise State.
It's going to bleed time, but it's also going to... Because, again, we have to look at it. It was 5 ultimates for Illinois. They dropped 4 in that previous engagement, and now they're at such a deficit to try and get a solid, clean push on this.
And Boise State is approaching ultimate advantage here, even as the Deadeye is going to come out. That is the one ult that Illinois State has to use.
No!
Plato is going to take him out! There you go!
Vision Vision goes down in the back. Beautiful angle from Plato. The shield doesn't block the sightline onto it, so it gives them the opportunity. 50 seconds now to go. Plato up top, still continuing to be uncontested. Reacted, harassed at the moment, but has to draw back to mitigate with the defense matrix.
Illinois State is going to back up, see if they can get one push here. Everybody except for Liar, who's just kind of running around doing Lucio things here, and Goblin is trying to take them out. They've been set on fire. Took a lot from Boise State there to eliminate the Lucio, but they did it, and they've probably stalled Illinois State by another 3 seconds because of that pick.
That's the definition of a Reddit Lucio player right there. For everyone that wanted to know, that is it. Dragon Strike now through the amplification matrix. Great wall, though, to mitigate some of the damage and prevent anybody from getting the maximum potential with that sideline. Now, underneath Goblin, still recognizing where their positioning is. Dropping. Oh, no! They get clipped on the outside of the shield that was tossed down by Kel! Unbelievable that dash is going to cause them to fall short. The numbers heavily in favor of Illinois, but the spawns are there for Boise. Matberg comes out to see if they can try and keep this into the overtime, and there's 5 meters left. React on the inside now, diving in to assist Flyer to take down Goblin. Bagel with a hope and a dream to contest, and a res that comes through onto Goblin. But these are still going heavily in favor of Illinois. It is a worthwhile of a blessing to see that Mercy come in with a res, but this meter will finally dwindle as Illinois completes, but with no time in the bank.
Honestly, Boise State got into overtime, and that is all they needed to do. They didn't need to win the scrappy fight of putting bodies on the point, and in fact, we didn't expect them to. Most of the time, when you're throwing bodies on the point in overtime, that fight is not going to go in your favor. Huge res by Bagel, though. I have no idea how they got that. They were on the point. They had all the members of Illinois State looking at them, but Bagel says, I'm gonna res, and they get it. Huge.
Find some time to ensure that it does reach that 0-second marker, which again is the biggest aspect of this. So if Boise State manages to complete this with time, that's what they're looking to do to take the advantage. Whereas on the opposing side, Illinois State wants to prevent any completion on this round to make sure that they take this as a 2-0 to put themselves onto a match point. And as we do get into this initial position, you can already see the Wrecking Ball barreling through that archway, so we do know that there is going to be some harassment coming out from Gig, which on this Wrecking Ball is a scary sight to see if you give space to Gig.
Oh yeah, and sometimes Gig will just take the space, regardless of whether or not you give it. We talk about Matt Merck on the Wrecking Ball all the time. Gig is absolutely just as scary on their own Wrecking Ball, and Boise State will have to contend with that. I will say that I think first point and third point, I think, are going to be the most difficult hurdles for Boise State to overcome here.
So now we do have the doors open, attempting to get into this. And again, we have to talk, at length when it comes to Gig, because again, they were a valiant player in Owl. Now looking to see what they can do here. So again, they've got some significant plays, and it's a real time to see how Matt Merck can match up against it. But Matt Merck
pretty well
actually does get the pickup. All right, dude does well against it.
This is what we were hoping for. Matt Merck getting the initial elimination onto Gig, who probably pushed just a little too deep there on that ball. The rest of Boise State kind of sustaining, speeding, so we can go up top. Ooh, that's not looking good.
Plato getting eliminated again with a long spawn as well. It's going to be challenging. Goblin still at least trying to do what they can to deviate ISU away from forcing onto this initial point. This is just a scrappy all-around just positioning and angle. Boise State with this position, trying to get back into it, finding a backline position, getting the damage on to Rufel, which is so important. And there's a follow-up onto Gig, so this should open it up for a transition into the payload phase.
Through the teammate there, that 6 snipe on Division there. Aiko's going to try to dive immediately onto Plato. They will be Coach Gun back and eliminated. Plato is playing out of their mind right now on this Ash here. And Boise State's going to go. That is the first big hurdle that Boise State has. And we go to second point here. Both teams relatively even. Goblin is going to get taken out by Vision. And somebody's got to get on the tart.
Yeah, 5 minutes they've got. That was actually quite surprising at how well they were able to take advantage of this. And again, I think Gig getting a little bit too overzealous at the start of that engagement, which is really what put the nail in the coffin in the long run.
Boise State is the somewhat unfavored team here, but Illinois State cannot just relax, or Boise State will take first point Kings Row with 5 minutes remaining to try to get through this second point here. Echo getting a little bit of peek. Goblin's gonna get eliminated by Ging, and not a good fight starter, especially as Bagel is also going to go down to Liar, and that amplification matrix, Matt Burke is just gonna charge out, which was probably a wise decision.
Yeah, no need to stick around at this point. You know you've lost a significant player in this. You don't have your utility with Bagel going down for that extra movement. Also just area of effect healing when you cluster together. But when we take a look at the ultimate economy, we do look to have 5 bursts, essentially 5 ultimates. So this next engagement and pushing through this archway could be quite a lot. Vision actually tosses out the pulse bomb and doesn't get anything with it.
Oh, which is good for Boise State here, as now the only other ultimates they need to watch out for is the Mines and Gravitic Flux, as well as the Transcendence. We expect Mines and Gravitic Flux to maybe be used together or as a fight initiator. Gig might die for that. They are
Gig is gonna die for it. But they did get a nice division from the team. Boise State, the tanks had to commit down below because the minefield there divided the DPS and the supports up top. Still looking to try and re-enter into this map now, having to watch his flank. All of ISU is rotated back. What a shatter onto both supports. And you've got Boise State punishing for that over-aggression by ISU.
Which is exactly what we're looking for and is going to be how Boise State wins this, punishing over-aggression. We've seen it happen most notably for Gig on the side of Illinois State, but there are a couple of other members that have also been punished for their over-aggression, and maybe Ball is not the right pick, especially as we approach third point here with 2 minutes and 48 seconds.
I mean, this is that pivotal moment. If they reach this checkpoint and go into Furnace and ISU holds, we could find ourselves in the same return position, but Gobbly getting a nice elimination early on Echo ensures that they'll be able to reach this checkpoint. Nobody from ISU
there
can keep 4 minutes on the bank, and now ISU has to pull a monumental defense here to make sure that they do not have a completion to go to round 3.
Which is definitely possible. Boise State did it to them with about 5 minutes left on the clock. Boise State approaching this third point with 4 minutes here. Definitely Illinois State can still pull this out, but they're going to have to maybe swap off the ball or just get the pick on the plate.
And Matrix comes out, but Cal with Kinetic Grasp manages to get quite a bit of shielding and mitigate the damage. Goblin still goes down. That's going to just be Boise State having to back off because at this point they can't risk the overstay. And as they do, Chosen is picked up for it.
Honestly, this third point, Boise State really can't afford to lose anybody or go down even one, especially if it's a DPS. But it's almost just as important to keep your tank, especially your main tank and your main support in the fight as well. So you have to think if Illinois State can just keep getting picks outside of the fight, Boise State won't be able to push.
With this high ground position continuing to be maintained. Big pulse bomb onto Plato. Again, this is the staggers. ISU has been known in this final position to get a lot of really substantial picks, which can always make it so challenging for any team to press into this, especially on this corner specifically. So now with Plato back online, that they can pair up with Goblin. Hopefully they can get some damage. React gets a great takedown onto Chosen. And again, these are these staggers that you cannot allow happen.
And Boise State is going to go into this. If they can get the fight initiated, they do have the ultimate advantage if they can push before Illinois State gets their own Gravitic Flux. And with the Bob, this fight might actually be in the favor of Boise State if we can do it before Rupel gets 7% more on that Transcendence.
This is a scary moment, though, because React signal play is far superior in the midfield of their Diva, and on the defensive position it's going to be really important to maintain. Kinetic Grasp is going to mitigate it. They get the timing, but the Immortality field from that backline position from Liar is so on point. Eiko goes down, though. Kel trying to survive with Bagel. The shatter from that, attempting to do it more so as an insurance policy, but can't even get any validation for it, and is left to the wayside with Boise State sent back to spawn.
Chosen is going to get staggered at 4 HP, and that's going to cost Boise State probably another 6 to 10 seconds going in here. Boise State used their ultimates. They weren't able to get the value that Illinois State got with their own ultimates because of a well-placed Immortality field by Liar, who has just been a star on every single support they have pulled out tonight.
Steam looking with the Dragon Strikes to lead in through the wall, dividing React. Also Rupel into the side position, but Liar also acting in kind to make sure that nobody presses out from Boise State because they will walk into the waking arms of the defense matrix, or the amplification matrix. As you've got Gig playing a little bit more to that outskirt. looking for a backline engagement. Does go in for it with the minefield and swiftly gets a slam onto Chosen.
And the beat comes out too late to save Chosen, too little, too late, as Boise State is taken in 56 seconds left to cap this .3. And at this point, they don't have the ultimates to do it, so they will just have to get the picks at this point. And with Echo camping their spawn, not necessarily looking good.
No, Echo at this point is just continuing to bob and weave into necessary positions, and ISU can play forward here. The payload has maneuvered even closer to where that initial checkpoint is, so even if they do lose this forward position fight, they'll get a solid 6. Now, Gig in the back with low health, though. Plato gets vision, and that's an opportunity.
That's the exact opportunity we were thinking about Boise State needing, as Bob is going to come online for Boise State, potentially get some value. React has the Sigma ultimate, though, and his last one is huge. So this is a little bit dangerous for Boise State. Plato is not going to get eliminated, but not going to get the elimination themselves, sending Bob onto the weak Zenyatta in the backline.
Oh, no!
Forces the tranquility.
Flyer needed to go down. They fall short. That would have been huge if they can eliminate that to remove any sort of value, but it's actually going to be big. They get the halt from Matt Merck so that Plato can find a sightline. The overtime now dwindling. Plato drops from on high. The respawn advantage in favor of Illinois State as they're about to come out of the gate. They do have also a 0 time bank for Boise. Vision in the back, weaving their way. No one can
there
do
it is.
And we get a 60-second time bank for Bull.
Boise State really coming alive there in the last 58 seconds off the heels of Goblin getting the initial pick, but Plato getting all the subsequent picks in the fight there, getting that elimination onto RuPaul, especially after the Tranquility, was huge.
This is a rough one because I mean, all right, let's do our checks and balances right now. So both teams, on their attempt to attack, was able to take it very quickly. They did still work with a very minimal time bank to lead in with 5+ minutes into the street space. Both of them did. It's ultimately going to come down to how fast the amplification matrix is going to come online between both of these teams. I have a strong feeling that whoever gets it first and whoever lands it into an optimal position will be able to take this fight. That's where I feel everything's going to be committed.
Yep, all eyes on Liar and Chosen here to try to get that first amplification matrix. Baptiste that charges it first wins the fight. That is our current prediction here. And it looks like there might be a Roadhog on the side of the attacking team, which maybe an unexpected comp is exactly what's going to be able to take them first point too.
Yo, did they just take like a chapter out of Bellevue's comp? Because that's what it feels like. Bellevue brings this Roadhog comp a lot, and it's so wonky, but it can work. Well, Goblin's gonna say, sorry, React. You really need to figure out who you're partnering with, because the Roadhog's not gonna give you the assistance like I think you traditionally would receive.
And especially running Sigma Roadhog into May without your own counter May, that is 30 seconds of a lost fight there, just because they didn't necessarily have the mirror May or support for their Sigma.
They're taking a huge swap right now. Is Vision gonna swap too?
Yeah, they absolutely are.
They did a whole reset with 10 seconds left. They're just going to brute force this. The only one that has percentage gain is RuPaul and has to get this amplification matrix. They're peeking the corner. They're rushing in. Goblin still gets Liar. Overtime is active. Plato so low in the back. These exchanges have to go in favor of Illinois very swiftly for them to be able to reach this point, and they actually are able to do so. Vision and Echo come out on top despite Goblin retaliating. This is still Illinois, despite them having no ultimate economy, is able to come out with a neutral fight and claim the engagement.
I hate it. Amplification matrix is going to come down. Not necessarily to decide the fight, though, just at the end of the fight there from both teams. Neither one of Liar's going to get some value onto Matt Merck there, and that, ooh, I got to say, Goblin tried. Goblin really did. They got several eliminations, but after Boise State's Reinhardt was eliminated, everybody was forced into a hotel, and at that point, Illinois State had the point.
Overtime now will be 100% active. So the second that Illinois State gets off this point, the longer it goes, the faster it dissipates. And with my vision, Plato has to have a blizzard that isolates everyone away. That's the opportunity for Boise State as they look to try and push around this bookstore. High Noon comes out, though, instantly to try and respond. Aiko tosses theirs out behind the wall, so it's not being eaten by Kel. They will be able to get both Matt and Goblin and should be able to still push on. Plato's got to hold on to that, which they're going to go down anyways. This next fight is going to determine whether or not Boise State can shut down this momentum.
And Matt Merck did lose the shatter here. So Boise State has one really good shot at trying to stop them from capping second point, and it will be off the cusp of Plato's Blizzard here and Chosen's Amplification Matrix probably for the approach. But Illinois State, they still have their own shatter. They didn't blow it last fight, and Vision has the Deadeye, which is usually not a very impactful ultimate. Zoning new.
Cassidy on top. Here's the Blizzard. That's what I commented. They have to somewhat stay close to it, but the Blizzard actually doesn't land directly onto the payload, so they can still keep it contested just behind it. Another elimination comes through, but Chosen gets the takedown despite that immortality field being there. It is hyper-focused. Illinois State bobbing and weaving around this, and as you think it's going to be Boise State on the defense holding, another checkpoint is reached.
This is point 3 though, and point 3 was a solid hold for both teams. So if Boise State is going to stop them from full capping, this is definitely the point to do it here. With Illinois State having a phenomenal roll here, with only a minute getting it approaching second quarter, third point.
Yeah, Illinois has been on a tear right now, and they have been able to work with their momentum every step of the way.
Another
Relenting
Deadeye.
as another Deadeye comes through, but Bagel gets the pickup. They can't get the value. The self-destruct to counter. Matt goes down. So much on the shoulders of Kel, trying to utilize the shield and also the spheres to bring down the supports. The Lucio from Liar continues to elude him, just completely deviating away from the sideline as React comes in swiftly to take down their counter off take. Now, Goblin in the back, pummeling with those storm arrows, attempting to twiddle health value up top, but React is still mitigating so much damage as this overtime still continues. Plato with the Blizzard might just be enough to stop it.
Not quite enough as Blizzard's going to dissipate, and no eliminations have come out from the side of Boise State. Plato down themselves. Vision's going to get eliminated by Goblin. 6 snipe there. Goblin's going to see what else they can do here.
Nat manages to knock off Aiko, so they aren't here, but Gig and Rupel still continuing to push forward. The Baptiste damage is so significant to pair with Gig. They reach the finish, and they actually complete it of overtime since the payload began.
We just forgot to touch cart. We didn't put our bodies on the point. Die an honorable death on the point instead of shooting off shots into the enemy team that weren't necessarily landing them anyway. But that was a huge push by Illinois State there. They had a minute, and within the final 10 seconds is when they were able to cap point 1, taking everything else in overtime. Huge job. Tall order for Boise State to do the same thing.
Oh my. Fish and chips indeed. That's what I need right now on that sign. Just throwing that out there. Hopefully I'll be able to go to merry old England and get that sometime soon. But as we get back to the game, since my stomach was growling for the moment, we will, yes, have quite a tall order here. And Boise State, again, we have to give them some serious credit because at least when it comes to that first initial take on this point, they are still very quick. They managed to get it with very, very minimal time. It's just the street phase portion where they were able to get outmatched from Illinois a couple more times than I think they would have liked is the part that I'm most scared for.
And Boise State does not have the time to do the very long rotation that they did first point last time we played Kings Row. They don't have the full minute 30 to walk completely around the point. They have to come up with a new strategy here, and it looks like they're doing that coming left. And with the Doomfist, they're going to sim TP on top of Statue.
Oh my, it's a strategy that's worth taking. They do get an elimination quickly. Kel finds Gig. This is the strat that's necessary, and as we said, this isn't the part that we were concerned about. It's this transitioning position. They'll be able to go into the payload phase. They do have a plethora of ultimate economy advantage. Aiko taking down Goblin won't really matter, because once they grab this, they'll have the better spawn positioning, so the payload comes out of the door. But This archway is the point of contention because ISU should have enough time to get back as a full 6 to try and compete against us, with Goblin now actually adjusting, and same thing with Kel.
Kel back on that D.Va, which we always love to see Kel on that D.Va. Boise State, I think first Ultimate is going to win this next fight here.
Goblin attempting to try and catch up. That's the biggest thing, is the Blizzard is going to be helpful. Chosen having the amplification matrix online will most likely need to be used to network through this archway, seeing if they can give it, and will be able to. Eiko drops the shield to prevent some of the damage. Immortality field has already been committed, and the Earth Shatter comes out by Matt, eliminating one, but Goblin goes and falls in suit. Plato has the photon barrier. I'd really like to see them hold on to that not yet committed, which they are doing a great job holding and being reserve in this, as Matt gets a couple more pickups with the turrets eliminating 2 as well.
Several members eliminated on the side of Boise State here, but they will end up taking that fight, so they get to push the cart. Illinois State has at least one more engage, even as Boise State has 3 on the cart, and they have to land their own Shatter or charge a Blizzard before this next engagement. Boise State, Kel is on that D.Va. They have to be ready to win this, but eat that Blizzard, because that is Illinois State's best chance.
Meters continue to close to that next checkpoint where we reach the climactic furnace position, which is the most challenging to work through. Nice reposition up top. Photon barrier tries to give some coverage, but it's not quite in line with the teleporter. Sound barrier leading into this. Eiko has the Blizzard, zoning Boise State back, but the sound barrier from Bagel might be enough to withstand the storm, as the frigid chill does not quite quench the bone. Now Illinois State coming back in with a shatter on to 3. Chosen goes down. Illinois State finds the opportunity and follows through to shut down Boise State, making it a 2-0 score line and finding themselves on match point.
Boise State was prepared for the Blizzard. They were able to get that out and not have any members eliminated. They were not prepared for the Earth Shatter immediately after that. And because of that, Gig just laid them all out and they got eliminated, and that was the end of the point. However, even though this is 2-0 and we are at match point, these have been relatively close games. Both teams did a phenomenal job of even reaching almost 2 second point, and in Illinois State's case, full capping with a singular minute. That is not something a lot of teams are typically able to do. So Boise State actually might be able to reverse sweep this.
Boise State has really elevated themselves from what we've seen from previous weeks. Again, when we talk about Illinois State University and what they've had previously, again, they've gone through a massive reconstruction for a lot of their players when bringing in new, and also those having to fill a spotlight. But despite those changes, they still are a very formidable team, and competing against some of the bigger names like Maryville, like Northwood, Bay State in the realm of high level competition. And Boise State is really being able to hold their own against it. And again, seeing a lot of collegiate just this past weekend, am really, really impressed with how they've been performing and have elevated themselves to be a competitor to ISU. And at this point, ISU, like you commented before, cannot just sit idly by thinking that they can take this with ease.
There are a couple of micro things that Boise State is not doing as well as Illinois State. Can you walk us through those?
I mean, the few things, because they're actually really controlling their tempo and their ultimate economy. It's just, there's a couple of times of where I think it's honestly not as much as a team unit problem. It's more so just a independent skill where there are just some really, really, open opportunities that just present themselves, and ISU gets the better end of it. Perfect example, even when it came to just super micro plays, where it was at the end of it when the Earth Shatter came out and the shield that came out from Kel just didn't get the coverage, and then there was a little bit of a misplay with a dash from the Hanzo outside of the shield coverage to help be able to keep fueling damage. Little things. Not like significant, like fundamental problems. And that's just where it's, continuing to see Goblin elevate themselves, Plato elevate themselves, because they've had some pop-off moments. Both of them have had very significant moments in tandem with not only the support line, but also the tank line up front. So going into this next one, and especially being Watch Point Gibraltar, I'm really, really curious to see how Boise State's going to be managing this high ground position and utilizing that basically throughout the map. That's a big focal point for me, because that will be able to determine whether or not you have a successful map or not.
And what do you expect to see on the DPS and tank lineups here on Gibraltar?
That could be a multitude of things. I've seen, a lot of Ashe when it comes to, selection of attack
Plato's good
damage.
at Ashe.
Tracer as well. Tracer is another one that we see where it can be harassing. The swap between, high ground, low ground, it's more so, I think, a stylistic choice because you can have the Reinhardt with the D.Va. The D.Va acts as the off tank where they can play that elevated position just for those subtle moments when necessary. For instance, when the payload goes underneath just before server room or car wash, that's a time where you can leave the Reinhardt away from it with the D.Va taking that high ground position. Same thing when it comes to removing those transitioning into the docking bay with the ship where they can go up top, continuing to harass those that are either on the Ashe, an Echo, a Pharah, or, any of those assortments. But really, until we get to see what the actual compositional breakdown is defensively, I'm curious. It looks like we could even see in the distance that it is. I mean, again, Winston is also a huge selection here. Double bubble is an option because you can play that high ground position, but it's actually going to be a double shield comp coming out here from Illinois State with a dive centric one from Boise.
And Boise State will have a difficult time diving onto that point, especially with May Symmetra on the point and the double shield.
I mean, the brig. The brig is another one.
Yeah, that's huge, and it actually looks like Boise State will be the one running that there, just trying to protect the cart. And Illinois State, they're going to dive in, and they're going to get eliminated one by one, which is exactly what Boise State is looking for. The remaining 3 to 4 members up there on top, unable to dive in until they are a full team unit, and Boise State is just going to go under at an ultimate advantage. Aiko's going to get Goblin, though.
I like the double shield. Again, before we had the swaps and we had the full display of the heads-up median. Oh, beautiful bio by RuPaul.
Oh my gosh.
Shut this down instantly. And that's something that's also super scary. When you get Ana in the hands of RuPaul in fights, when you got it paired with the Brigitte, it just gives so much agency to them to find value like that, where you can just completely turn the tide of a fight in a drop of a hat.
Especially in such a close quarters combat as the one that Boise State was attempting to run on that cart there. I actually don't know if they will be able to, with that double shield, get back on the cart.
Aiko had to tuck tail and almost got their wings clipped. And now you do see, unfortunately, Gig go down. Aiko looking for a flanking position. Sticky bombs into the heart of that, getting a lot of damage, actually. This duplicate has already been online, but at this point probably could have faced a second for how much damage they're getting. Rupal once again gets another Bionet onto Matt. Doesn't land onto multiple members, but Aiko with the focusing beam eliminates Chosen. So Boise State now in a dangerous position. They're going to commit the Photon Barrier. They don't have their main support. Brig is a tall task here to try and sustain through a blizzard as well. This is Boise State committing a lot into this, and I think it's almost a little bit of an overzealous attempt here.
You definitely don't want to commit ultimates when you are down your main support, and I think that was a misplay on Boise State's part that is actually now going to... They're still at the ultimate advantage, but it's going to put them more behind than they would like, especially now as Vision is going to charge their attack visor here. RuPaul only 17% to Nano, so it's unlikely we will see a Nano visor. Boise State just grouping up in spawn. Honestly, a good decision. Plato's going to get that elimination on the React, leaving them up 1 in this next engagement. A Sigma ultimate could end up giving us first point as long as we do something about the visor.
Oh no, what a Bionet in the boop. That was huge. That knockback is going to be so challenging to recover from, but again, great heads-up play here from Boise with Bagel and Chosen to top up the players so they do not lose out, especially with this minute and 10 seconds to go. Attack visor committed by Vision, though, to try and stem the bleeding.
We'll see what they're able to do. All the members on Boise State are taking cover, with the exception of Plato, who will be unable to get out. Kel's going to fall to the bomb. Matt Merck is going to go down to the bombs. And at this point, you got to think that's maybe just Boise State's the end of their push there. They have one more chance and one blizzard to do it.
Oh, goodness, under 5 meters and going to continue climbing. 45 seconds. Plato right now has to get the biggest blizzard they've ever seen to get into this next checkpoint. Yep, blizzard of their life. It's got to chill them to the bone. That's what we got to see.
We got to do it right off the cusp of this teleporter. The pole was there. They were attempting to do it. They didn't end up committing. It looks like Plato's actually going to be the one to touch cart first and try to hit them as they drop. See if he's able to do that here. Dropping it right on cart, so they have to walk straight into that blizzard. Gets the elimination on the Aiko. Gets the DMAC onto React, which is exactly what Boise State's looking for here. Still 6 members strong, forced to commit to the cryo piece. A little bit too close for comfort. React's going to go down. Then Boise State up 2. This is when most fights turn. Even getting a huge Bionade and a sleep onto Chosen and Plato. That fight will go the way of Boise State. Plato did it. Blizzard are there live.
Absolutely necessary to be able to reach this checkpoint. Now going to use the TP to get up to the high ground to, again, play very far forward. Nobody saw that you just fell off there.
Yep. Nope. Did it on purpose. Somebody needed to be on the cart. Bagel's happy to make that sacrifice there on that brick. Barno's going to come down, and so is Sigma ultimate, and Gig is just gone in the face of both of those ultimates. React is going to get eliminated before even the mech kill comes out, just showing how much damage came out onto those tanks in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, Illinois State right now, I think, underestimating a little bit of that high ground presence with the teleporter, not acknowledging that there is multiple members up top. Eiko now has to draw back, looking for a sticky bomb. Great land, gets a focusing beam as well. Triple in total. Eiko managing to pop off in the moment when it's necessary, as a minute and 30 seconds still remain.
And this is one of the hardest points to cap in the game if you get stopped here before you get to the door, because there are only 4 points of entry, and at this point now Illinois State has the best high ground in the game. And so Boise State not only has limited things that they can do, limited ways that they can walk, but they have to knock Illinois State off of great high ground.
Gonna dive in quickly to get that extra damage to make sure that they do have the Primal Rage online. React also nearing that self-destruct. Coalescence being held on to for the moment. Finally committed by Boise State. It has to be to keep those alive. They're gonna have the photon barrier to divide this in this small room. This is so dire. Plato also commits the Blizzard. Boise State has spent so much into this, and it's not gonna go in their favor.
Photon barrier definitely attempted. Chosen making some valiant efforts. They will go down second to last. Matt Merck. Eiko is the price for Illinois State, but you got to think that they won the fight, and now Boise State only has one more attempt at this. And it was Plato last time that had the ult that won them the point. Now it's got to be Kel. Hopefully Matt Merck and Kel will be able to do that Bongo Sigma ultimate combo that they did before and get the immediate two-piece. But with the attack vibes are coming in from behind on high ground, Boise State's got to feel at least a little scared.
Oh, Vision just waiting for the opportune time now, dodging out of the way of the flux and gets outside of it, and still pumping some serious damage up top. Rally now from Liar, taking this cross side. This Vision play from 76 is the most lightning fast I've seen across that high ground positioning, but the payload is still moving. Boise State is at least gaining distance for the time until finally Illinois State collapses onto the point. Liar goes in for the stun. The knockback by the Primal Rage gives some distance, but they have to still keep their eye on the prize. The payload, there's still Boise State presence, and this payload is actually in quite the predicament for both teams to get back as Gig gets the necessary takedowns. The Reaper play can't survive long enough for Plato to do enough work onto the big man, and this should be Illinois able to hold defensively and stop this push before the checkpoint.
Liar went feral. Liar and Gig especially went feral in that last fight. Vision gave them the opportunity to knock Boise State off from the high ground, but Liar and Gig really put the work on that cart to stop it from capping.
Initiating match.
What a game. What a game right now. Boise State not wanting to say goodbye. And again, it is their position on the line right now. Eiko, again, being able to find such value in that lower position with a great sticky bomb leading to a multi-focusing beam. And now as we take the swamp asides, Boise State is going to be on the defense here. They have to have a monumental defense here, a Herculean one, I would say, with how we've seen Illinois State play on Watch Point Gibraltar, and we'll see if they can step up and are able to do that here today.
So here's the deal with Watchpoint Gibraltar, right? Most teams, especially at this level, are going to be able to cap point one. Boise State with point one, their goal is not to full hold the first point, but it's actually just to take time off. That is their goal. Especially when you're facing somebody like Illinois State, you gotta assume they're gonna cap. Second point, however, on Gibraltar is a completely different story, because even at this level, I mean, we just saw Boise State get stopped, but there are other teams that can get stopped on that second point. Just because if you get stopped at any point second point and you have to full reset and they have the high ground, your chances of capping that point once they've obtained the high ground are slim to none. So Boise State is really, even as we set up for first point here, looking for a second point hold.
And look at how forward momentum this is by Illinois State. They're trying to completely take advantage of this out the gate, with Boise State also being very responsive with the Sombra play, but can't translocate out, and that should start putting Boise into a very, very difficult position. But again, since they've managed to hold so far forward, they'll be able to get back in as they pull 6, just to, like you mentioned, reduce the clock that's necessary on ISU.
And with 3 minutes and 20 seconds remaining there, that is about 40 seconds, almost a minute here, before Illinois State has even been able to push the cart. So I would say, even though Boise State ended up losing that fight, and even though Illinois State now has a little bit of an ult advantage, definitely worth it to hold in that room and take a minute off of the clock before the next fight even begins.
The hard part is now is because there was such a well-tidied cleanup onto Boise State towards the end of it, and not as much of a stagger. It is all ISU now managing this high ground, and you're going to have Goblin pressing out forward. Don't get eliminated. That translocate came out just in time. Goblin to escape. Now you've got the Coalescence leading into this, and see if you can get enough momentum from Boise State on this defensive position to try and turn this back around. With Gig eliminated, React having the self-destruct available, could attempt to use it here for this attack to try and reach it, but Aiko's actually going to get that duplicate, take down the Reinhardt play. A lightning fast Earth Shatter, but locked down into the Blizzard, and will prevent a second one from coming out.
And that's another huge Blizzard. Didn't end up getting any eliminations. Aiko actually will be the one to eliminate Plato in that room with the Echo Beam. And at this point, Boise State is probably taking too long to win this fight, even as Goblin has 85 to the next EMP. Goblin has not been able to find a lot of hack targets or damage in these past couple of fights. And maybe if they're not able to charge EMP that fast, they might be able to find value on a different hero.
I mean, Aiko and Vision right now have just been on a tear, and that's been the biggest challenge right now. Boise State has been attempting to try and just slow their momentum, but they're constantly finding value. And again, you commented on it as well, that Goblin has been kind of playing a little bit slower, unfortunately, ever since that early elimination. They've not had the tempo onto the EMP they would have liked. Matmark now kept in the stairway here. They can't even leave the spawn. This is a terrible position to be in, because they spawned right as the position became capped. So they're in this rock and a hard place situation. Hell, at least gets rid of Aiko. That's something as a sound barrier committed.
Sound barrier will be committed just so they can be as aggressive as they really want to be here. Vision still lives way longer than we thought he would. They will finally go down, but so will Gig. Boise State is up to, and while they don't have the high ground advantage, they do have the numbers advantage, and the remaining members of Illinois State will be forced to just back up. And it looks like Aiko's actually going to go in. Amplification measures will be committed here, even as no members contest the cart, and it begins to move backwards. Chosen can't really do anything against that high ground there, and Lyre's going to get the elimination on the Plato, which is not what you're looking for. Chosen's just going to try to laser Gig, but that's not going to go in their favor, especially when the enemy team has the high ground. And Chosen's going to get eliminated, and so is Bagel. Boise State was just caught out on the ground, and Illinois State played the high ground better. And at this point, Boise State has one more desperate contest with Blizzard before the cart will reach its destination. Big.
Chosen. Somebody gonna be able to touch it. Kel down below gets slept, and they still touch it though. You have now Boise State at the disadvantage. Blade comes down. It doesn't mean the nano base. It ducks, dive, dodges, and ducks, as they will be able to swiftly maneuver through. Aiko gets the double. Vision will be able to body block the charge. And you will have Illinois State, in the end, be able to take this 3-0. But I got to give, like I said, Boise State some serious credit for being able to match up against the team who we've seen be such a mountain to work through ever since they had the roster transition into Owl. And with them being able to reform here, Boise State still being able to put up a competitive fight against them, despite the scoreline saying 3-0. You would not think otherwise when you watch these games.
And Boise State got progressively better as the maps continued. I would say Lijiang was our least competitive performance, and then we just grew from there. I think that this is a team Boise State can't learn from in this matchup, but will continue to learn from, even if we are now just kind of out of it because Illinois State ended up taking us down. What are your big takeaways for both teams?
Whew. I mean, for both teams, I would definitely say for ISU that they, of course, still have to, refine, I think, working, with the teamwork that they've been able to give React an opportunity for him to excel and step into this role, and has had some really, really successful, plays overall. There's still, I think, a lot of work that needs to be done, of course, when it comes to somebody who fills into a role like this such last minute within the semester, even just the last, month and a half, I think it was, to be accurate.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a hurdle to still continue to work on to allow them to prevail. And when it comes to, Boise State in this sense, it's more so just being able to try and take a little bit of, just a recognition of, let's say, maybe some of those in-moment plays. So again, their team coordination and understanding how to move forward is still very much there, and their independent player strengths have been significant. I think there's just a couple occasions where once you do have a team that gets the advantage like ISU, it's more challenging to recover from it. That's, I think, more so where you kind of have to cut your losses and then look to re-entry without giving up too much, as we actually do have a chance to even take a look at the bracket as well here, as Prawn might be able to toss that up here on the screen for us to look at it to see how we continue to evolve and move through this, as Boise State now is going to be moving against Kennesaw in that losers bracket, and quite an exciting one to see is going to be Northwood versus Illinois too. So we're talking like big names still moving through in that winners bracket.
It will also be really interesting to see UCI versus Harrisburg, because UCI won against UTD, and that was definitely not a matchup that they were favored to win, but they did it, and we'll see if they'll be able to take down number 4 Harrisburg. But Northwood versus Illinois State, numbers 2 and 3, those are the two highest names that we still have in the bracket thus far. That will be super interesting to watch as we go forward here to name our champion.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you commented on it. The UTD one and the UCI one, even just saw that over this weekend. UCI has really elevated themselves. Renanthera, their coach, has been bringing a lot of extra just value to their team and what they have, coaching staff. Not to discount UTD by any means, because I know they've even just had an amazing opportunity of having their first female player in their starting varsity roster, and Soba's been killing it for their team, and still continuing to work towards it. But again, moving to that losers bracket to see if they can continue to work on their redemption arc. And like you commented, Illinois and Northwood, another exciting one. Previously, Illinois has been able to take down Northwood, but Northwood, in this last, week and a half, they actually had some pitfalls against Bay State, finding now able an opportunity to take them out once again, because originally their series was 10-0 against Bay State. Bay State then finally managed to take a couple of back-to-back matches off of them, and then over this weekend were able to beat them. And now even in this NACE championship here, they have now started to kind of work their way back into favor, I think, and also feeling a little bit more confident. So it's really... it can't go any way. This is one thing even, myself and others have talked about it in the casting community, that there is so much high-level competition here that anyone really could take it.
And you know what? We're always here for that. It's not really it doesn't feel as good if somebody just rolls. Even if you do end up 3-0, you got to give them a game. Are there any specific players that you want to highlight from this game just as we approach the player of the game?
Player of the game, I want to say Plato. Plato is nut on a couple occasions, really, really nutty. I mean, I'm going to go with Plato. I have a feeling it's going to be Plato. I'm going to go with my instinct, and I'm going to feel it's going to be Plato, because we've seen Plato before, so that's partially why I think it's going to be Plato again, but at the same time, it might not be. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on it?
If you're going to say Plato, I feel like I need to highlight Goblin specifically, because those two were definitely...
Agreed.
Those
it was
two
one
were
or the
definitely, they're one or the other. They had the most impact on fights, and it was just amazing to see. And so I really think either Plato or Goblin could be player of the game here as we go ahead and see who that is. And it looks like it's going to be Plato.
Yes, I got it. I don't get this often. It's always my color caster who gets it, and I never get it.
You had
Plato
the 50-50.
managing to come out. I know. It's like tossing a coin. Most of the time, I never get lucky. It's always heads on both sides for me when I call tails. So.
And I definitely think the sniper highlight reels, those are always some of my favorite things to watch as characters pop off. And this actually was Goblin on the Hanzo there, just seeing what they could do, getting the Dragon Strike in Plato's highlight reel here for play of the game. This was a little bit unfortunate. We didn't end up touching the point. But you know what? Plato's still an amazing player and definitely more than once handed us a fight. And the ICCU Player of the Game is brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central is helping members achieve financial success. Plato will be your Idaho Central Credit Union Player of the Game. And, I mean, why wouldn't they? They did an amazing job, especially on that Ashe.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest things, too. I mean, there were some serious opportunities that the Ashe play won fights for Boise State. And again, it's kind of where I call back to your question of saying, like, what is it that, you can really do better? It is a hard statement because, I mean, the biggest thing is that there are these pop-off moments and there are these team focal, opportunity that Boise State is finding in these engagements. And it's really just, I think, looking at the larger spectrum of just knowing some of the competition, because like when you talk about Gig, who is an ex-Owl player, and still like we're talking about, it's just that there's also dynamics of they have that type of competitive environment in an upper echelon. To not say that Boise State can't fight against it, it's just those little extra knowledge points or ways to kind of think about the play, and how is it that you have to be able to adapt within the moment and see, if anything, like you commented, looking back on this to learn from it and see what they can do to also continue to elevate themselves, because Doc continues to make this team a more outstanding competitor. And after watching it season after season and what they're able to do, it's really, really exciting to see where it's continued to go.
Boise State gets better every year, and we will continue to do so, hopefully. Even though tonight we did end up getting 3-0'd, we made all of them games. We definitely made Illinois State work for it, which is sometimes all you can ask for, especially when you're going against ex-Overwatch League players and players that are going to try out for Overwatch League and things like that. So the big takeaway, I think, before we go to the top 5 for Boise State would be, it's not big things that Boise State is losing on. It is very much the micro play and occasional individual player consistency. Because sometimes players had these pop-off moments where they were amazing, and then sometimes they got picked before the fight even began. And those are two of some of the hardest things for players to come up on. So it definitely will be kind of like a learning curve as Boise State continues to grow. And like you said, elevate themselves. And with that, we're going to go ahead and go to our top 5 plays, which are brought to you by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. With more than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for, the Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out to them on iGuard Gaming at twitch.com. And from all of us here at Boise State Esports, have a great night. Wants it. They go ahead and get it around the shield there. Goblin is peeking, trying to get some damage. They get the elimination on the wire.
No one's on the cart. No, it's fine. Now there's somebody on the cart. Okay. Illinois is just like, let's go, fam. And then they're just like, oh, wait, we have an objective to focus on. This Vision gets another pickup. Shatter in the back. Sound barrier comes out, though, from Boise State. It's a hot second too late to keep Chosen and Plato alive. And Illinois State is throttling right now. Pulled out the ball on the point. Gig is just trying to live on that Reinhardt. It looks like they will be able to, but Matt Merck wants it. They go ahead and get it around the shield there. Goblin is peeking, trying to get some damage. They get the elimination on the wire, and Boise State might stabilize and stop this cart. Even as Bob goes onto it, Matt Merck, 153 HP. The team Boise State, the tanks had to commit down below because the minefield there divided the DPS and the supports up top. Still looking to try and re-enter into this map now, having to watch his flanks. All of ISU is rotated back. What a shatter onto both supports. And you've got Boise State punishing for that over-aggression by ISU. In such a short amount of time. Yeah, Illinois State right now, I think, underestimating a little bit of that high ground presence with the teleporter, not acknowledging that there is multiple members up top. Aiko now has to draw back, looking for a sticky bomb. Great land, gets a focusing beam as well. Triple in total. Aiko managing to them the opportunity to set up with all 6 members. And at this point, that's 4 minutes and 12 seconds, approaching third point here. Going to use the application matrix, and the immortality field has to be tossed out so far forward. Goblin gets a triple. Matt also comes in with a swiftness, and